nights ago in the Tri-City Storm. Tri-City defeated them by a 4-1 score on Friday. However, the Storm suffered a loss last night on the road against the Des Moines Buccaneers. Whereas Omaha started the weekend on the road, Tri-City has got to be thinking a little bit about that bus ride back home here tonight, the third game in as many days in a different location.
Yeah, that gets exhausting on the body, especially after a tough loss last night in a shootout against a really good Des Moines Buccaneers team. Sometimes that can deflate you, but speaking with head coach John Torchetti before the game, his guys are feeling pretty good about themselves right now. They've won 4 of their last 6, and you know, there's a lot to be happy about, a lot to be positive about for the Tri-City Storm. So they're coming in here a confident group, and they know they've taken care of business against the Lancers not too long ago on Friday night. So it's going to be a tough challenge for the Omaha Lancers tonight against a really hot and ready Tri-City Storm team.
Should be a fun matchup tonight. We're about 10 minutes away from puck drop. We'll take a break and be back with more in a moment on the Omaha Lancers Hockey Network. just about ready to roll here tonight from Liberty First Credit Union Arena as the Omaha Lancers take on the Tri-City Storm. For both teams, their third matchup in as many days. Tri-City has played in 3 different locations this week. The Lancers are playing at home for a second straight night. Joel Norman on the call with you alongside Johnny Lazarus for tonight's game. Happy to be the only one in the USHL. Johnny, we had fun last night. Let's do it again here tonight. This matchup between 2 in-state rivals trying to get back in the win column tonight.
Hoping for a much better result tonight from the Omaha Lancers. There were a lot of things to be happy about last night. I thought George Lovell really stood out. He's looked like he's bumped up to the second line tonight, so something to look for as far as the Lancers lineup goes. Number 93 in black, his feet move. Every time he's out there, they don't stop, and I got a feeling he's going to have a strong game tonight.
This will be the 4th head-to-head matchup of the season between Tri-City and Omaha. They most recently faced off on Friday night in Kearney, a 4-1 Storm victory. The Lancers control the opening draw, and we are underway tonight here in Ralston. It's Ryder Reynolds up at the right point, dishes it left side. Nikita Konovich, the former Storm defenseman's shot, blocked away and pumped out of the zone by Tri-City. Reynolds back to get it in the Omaha end. Before it's stolen away from him, Luka Jarvis trying to wrap it around the net. Far side instead poked away. Reynolds lifts into center ice, neutral zone territory. Now here come the Storm, touched off of the stick of Brecken Smith. He scored the final goal of the 4-1 Storm victory over Omaha on Friday. Last night, heartbreak for Tri-City, surrendering the game-tying goal with 2 seconds left against Des Moines and then falling 3-2 in the shootout. Here's Carson Pilgrim around the base of the boards, works it around to the far corner side. Finn de St. Hubert works it back behind the net to Henrik Lasky, his D partner. Advanced up toward Brady Arneson, just a little bit out of his reach, and flexed back into the Omaha zone by Anastasio. Lasky out to the near board side, steered across ice by lefty Markinitis into the neutral zone. We're right there to get it. Paul Bloomer will punch it back in to the defensive end. Kept on side at the right point, Bodie Wise flips it back underneath and off of the stick of Cam Springer. Play to the far wall. George Lovell could not get it past Anastasio. Now joins in on the tie-up with Finn de St. Hubert on the wall, far side. Pops up in the air. The puck hits Brady Arneson off of his shoulder. He'll work it back to Henrik Lasky. Arneson back in the lineup for Omaha after being a healthy scratch last night. He has missed 2 of the last 4 games as a healthy scratch. Lobbing the puck north. George Lovell jumping in on the forecheck. Met immediately by the former Lancer Crawford in the far corner side. Crawford appearing in his first game against the Lancers this season. He pokes the puck away from the defense, but Lovell getting right back to it, pumps it beneath the goal line where it's played by Garen Mikowski. He'll work it out of the zone near side, just past the Omaha bench where Bronco Vukas is there to scoop it up. Around the boards, he finds lefty Markinitis, neutral zone side. It's dished off toward Vukas. He'll carry it in himself. Bronco Vukas peels off on the wall. He's got Spencer underneath the goal line. Works it to him. Sidearm around the backside of the boards toward the near wall. Aronson up to Stanius. Dish to the left point. Smith to Vukas. Tries a shot. Hits Stanius in the slot. Pinballs all the way back to Vukas. He'll try a low shot, but just missed the net. Aronson on the far board, half wall. Turns and shoots, looking for the redirect. He just missed Stanius' stick. Now flung to the cage from the left side. Smith just wide and off the far boards. It'll carry him over toward Aronson in the corner. Ryan Aronson trying to get back on the score sheet. 5 straight games without a point. He opened the season with 9 points in his first 11 games. He lets the puck fly free over toward Tommy Spencer. Trying to go up the wall and into the slot. Finesses it, but right to the stick of Garen Mikowski. He'll finesse it into the neutral zone. And the Lancers quickly reset. Stanius, right wing side, delays, tries a shot, but he misses the post near side. Pumped across ice by Samuel Marine, played off the wall. Cooper Ernawine into the Lancer defensive zone. He'll feed it back near quarter for Marine. Marine back toward the near end, or Ernawine, stapled to the wall immediately, gets some help in the form of Ashton Doms. He'll finesse it around the boards far side. Marine keeps it in the Lancer D zone, but Omaha with numbers breaks out. Aronson up to Ruby. Empty ice on the right wing. He'll take advantage. Ruby trying to glide toward the net on the backhand to the forehand. His shot shut down. Corralled by Kim. He tries a shot, and he scores! Yegor Kim lights the lamp as Omaha strikes first with 16:19 to go in period number 1.
The Omaha Lancers have been on the forecheck very strongly to start the game tonight, but David Ruby starts this play attacking the Tri-City Storm in a 1-on-4 situation. He uses his big 6'2" frame to protect the puck and attack the net, and the Lancers get on the attack. His line mates, Yegor Kim and Tanner Morgan, join him on that forecheck. Kim forces the turnover and then gets the puck off his stick immediately, beating Nelson to the low blocker, who was actually without a stick as well. So a really strong start here for the Lancers, and the fourth line, who had a great game last night, keeps their momentum going into tonight's game.
It looked like on that right wing drive to the net by Ruby, his stick got, Nelson's stick that is, got tangled up, and it was caught on the netting just past the far post, but the Lancers able to take advantage. Puck came perfectly to Yegor Kim in the slot, and he scored. Fans tossing items onto the ice here. It is the Undy Sunday promotion for the Lancers here today, with a Lancers striking first in this game, and the donations going to the Dignity Closet here in Omaha. So everything cleaned up off of the ice, and now we're ready to get back underway with 16:19 to go in the first period. Yegor Kim with his third goal of the season, and the Lancers off and running here in this game.
I really want to take a second to talk about the play by Ruby too, because in a 1-on-4 situation, usually you see a forward, especially a fourth line forward, just chip that puck in and go get it. But the confidence of Ruby to use his body and protect the puck to create that scoring chance, that leads to the goal.
Did a great job attacking the net there. Ruby's a guy trying to stay into the lineup for the Lancers. He's at 07, appearing in his 8th game of the season. Now here come the Storm on the attack, trying to even it up. Wise to Anastasio, flings it to the front of the net. Shaker keeps it out. Rebound controlled, though, by the Storm. Smith over to Pilgrim, back up to the right point now. Anastasio left side. His shot kicked away by the left pad of Shaker. Rebound punched to the wall. Jarvis is there. He'll flex it to the right point. Wise to Anastasio, looking back on the near side, but Konovic intercepts and dumps it toward the Tri-City bench.
Kind of a forced play there by Anastasio. You want to chip that puck into the corner. That's a tough cross-seam pass to make, especially when Omaha was tight on their guys.
Lancers in black, Storm in white here tonight. Here comes Cole Hiles on the attack, tries a center for Cam Karen. That's disrupted and quickly sped the other way. Lincoln Yelm on the right wing side, forced out wide by Henrik Lasky. Converging on him, Charlie Vig works the puck up toward Cam Karen as it's fed over right side for DeSaint Hubert. Up the boards and off the twig of Hiles into the Tri-City defensive zone. Crawford near side finds Mikowski. He'll lob this past all three lines into the Omaha zone, but Lasky is there to stave off the forechecking effort of Lincoln Yelm. This one is lobbed all the way down to the Tri-City zone and will be icing on the Lancers. Well, Johnny, this is FloHockey's live to social game. So we are encouraging everyone to leave in their comments, questions, anything they've got, any questions they want to ask you over the course of this game. We'll be answering them. You'll be answering them over the course of this game, but happy to have any extra listeners or viewers tuning in to this one.
I've got the YouTube chat up in front of me as well, so I'm
Johnny's dialed over. He's ready to roll.
I'm trying to monitor the chat here while also paying attention to the game. So if I'm a little delayed in getting to the questions, that's just because I'm watching the hockey in front of me, but I promise to get to everything that I can.
Priorities, absolutely. Storm win the draw, but it's quickly stolen away. Here comes Hiles on the rush the other way. Hiles right wing side with a low shot save made by Nelson. Rebound over to the near wall. Karen trying to punch it back toward Hiles. Tie-up ensues beneath the Tri-City goal line. And they will break it out. Here comes Oliver Ozagani. 28 shots for him, fourth most among USHL rookies. Over to Jensen, looking backdoor cross-ice pass just out of the reach of Connor Brown. Now lefty Markinitis gets the motor going, but has a stick lift by Brown, preventing him from going any further. Markinitis picked up his first goal as a Lancer on Friday, Omaha's only tally in a 4-1 loss at the Viero Center. Here's Bronco Vukas taking his time behind the Omaha net as Arneson sweeps in front of him. Vukas up to the stick of Markinitis, redirected into the Tri-City D-zone. George Lovell, the first one to it, tried to steer that puck to the front of the net, but it could not quite get in front of Nelson. Now Ashton Doms the other way, works it around Vukas. Shaker comes out of the crease to lob it all the way back toward the Tri-City blue line, where the former Lancer Cash Crawford touches up. Back in toward the Omaha zone, Reynolds to Lovell, trying to go across ice. He finds Markinitis, trying to get a step on the defense. Arneson joining him on the rush. Markinitis could not make the move around Mikowski, and now the Storm attack north. Doms just in front of the blue line. Ricochets this off of the end wall toward the far post. Devin Shaker is there, and he will cover it up. 13:07 to go here in period number 1 with the Lancers holding a 1-0 lead against the Tri-City Storm. Johnny, we'll keep it right here. Looking at this action-packed matchup here, the only one in the USHL right now on this Sunday slate. And so far, just from what we saw yesterday for Omaha, their passing has been on point. They're playing with a little bit more urgency right now, and they were rewarded early on.
Very crisp in their defensive zone, and that's where all the offense starts. It starts in your own end, and that's how you get in the attack, like the Lancers have done so far tonight. But one thing that's been super noticeable is the clean breakouts. Last night, in the first 10 minutes of the game, they were throwing pucks away. Lincoln was all over them, forcing turnovers. Right now, Tri-City's a little bit more passive than the Stars were last night, but you're also seeing strong heads-up plays by the Lancers, too. If they don't have the pass, they're rimming it and just chipping it out and skating into the puck. So Omaha has done a really solid job here in the opening few minutes.
Igor Kim has the game's only goal so far, back at the 3:41 mark of period number 1, his 3rd of the season. Omaha striking first for a 2nd straight day, though we saw it yesterday. Scoring first was not enough as they ended up falling to the Lincoln Stars by a 2-1 score in overtime. So far this season, the Lancers are 3-4-1 when scoring first. So though they didn't get the win last night, they now have a 500-point percentage in games where they light the lamp before their opponent.
And even though they scored first last night, when they scored, they weren't the better team. Right now, they get the first goal, and they've been the better team, so they can feel really good about themselves and keep that rolling throughout this game.
Taking advantage maybe of some bus legs for Tri-City in a lot of ways, but playing at Des Moines last night, playing another road game here today. Lancers got to sleep in their own beds last night after the overtime loss at home. They were in Kearney on Friday. Here comes Jack Stanius on the right wing side, trying to slide it to the front of the net. That pass just behind the skates of Tommy Spencer. He'll be guided up back to the neutral zone. Stanius trying to reset in front of the bench. Going up the boards, Stanius into the attacking zone. Tries a wrist shot, and a save is made by Owen Nelson. And a little extra pushing and shoving in front of the net. Ryan Aronson and Tommy Spencer in the middle of all that for Omaha.
Lots of hands coming up high between Ryan Aronson and Luca Jarvis, wasn't it, look like, for Tri-City?
I think so.
Or actually, no, I believe it might have been Cash Crawford, actually, the Storm.
Either way, little extra action after the whistle. 1-0 Omaha the lead with 12:30 to go here in this first period of play. They have 4 shots compared to Tri-City's 1. Face-off coming up to the right of Owen Nelson. This is a guy, Nelson, who's only appearing in his 4th game between the pipes. You have a goaltender in Michael Prodl, very established, an NHL draft pick by the Detroit Red Wings in the 3rd round last year. Sometimes with teams, there's that urgency as this puck pops out of play. Johnny, sometimes there's that urgency, especially in this league, as now we get a little more action in the Omaha defensive zone. Yelm and Konovic pushing and shoving. But sometimes if you're a coach, you want to lean on that proven veteran, in this case, Prodl. But Nelson has shown himself to be a capable backup. Stopped 45 of 46 shots October 26th at Sioux Falls. This is a position for him. He's really trying to prove his spot on this team as a backup here tonight.
And right now, it's important for him to field the puck. After allowing a first goal the way he did, again, it's not really his fault. The team turns the puck over right in the slot. You can't blame the goalie for that one. But after a goalie lets one up, you want to field the puck. You want to get your confidence back, especially that early in the game.
Here come the Lancers the other way. David Ruby picked up the helper on Kim's goal. That line on the ice as this feed from the near side, just a bit out of the reach of Ruby because he went tumbling down to the ice. Tanner Morgan, who sauced that pass over to him, wanted the penalty to be called, but it was not. Finn de Saint-Hubert behind the Omaha net absorbs the contact of Paul Bloomer, working it up to the blue line, not quite out. Lancers recontrol as Ruby settles and carries it over the red line. Good puck protection from David Ruby. He enters the attacking zone. Ruby to the right wing corner, to the right point. Vukas through the traffic, got the redirect from Hiles, but not at all the direction he wanted. Scooped up near board side. Ruby brings it back to the blue line. He'll work it over to the left point to Finn de Saint-Hubert. Lines up a shot, might have hit his own teammate, trying to pick up his own rebound. However, Jensen steps in front of that and brings it the other way for Tri-City. Maddox Malmquist over toward Brown. Pass couldn't get back over to Malmquist, so Brown resettles, tries to go up the wall, but Vukas tangles with him and takes the puck away. He'll backhand it ahead for Cam Karen. Lines up a wrist shot from the right wing circle, but right into the glove of Nelson before absorbing a shove right after the whistle from Mikowski.
There is a lot of extra stuff going on here tonight. Both teams desperate to get back in the win column, trying to rattle each other a little bit, but someone I really want to continue to praise right now is David Ruby. His first couple of shifts, he starts the offensive zone. Pressure for the Lancers on that last shift. Again, another situation in the neutral zone where they didn't really have the numbers, and instead of dumping the puck, he uses his body to protect it, get it over the blue line, and start the cycle. So a really strong start here from 74 in black.
Picked up the assist on Kim's goal. Really good puck protection, as you mentioned, on that last shift. Big reason why the Lancers are up 1-0. Charlie Vig was set to take the draw. He'll be kicked out. Cam Karen enters the dot instead. This line of Karen, Vig, and Hiles is the only line from last night that remains intact here today, Johnny. They were fantastic in last night's game. Karen scored the Lancers' only tally.
That line could have had a couple more. Karen especially had a wide open net in the second period, but it was blocked by a Lincoln Stars defenseman. Want to see the top guys keep that motor going.
Here comes Hiles the other way. Into the attacking zone, dishes it back off to the point, steered by Owen Smith in the direction of Cole Hiles, but not able to be received. It's broken out, far wing. Ozagandi stepped right in front of that pass, intended for Ernawine, could not come up with it. Vig, right wing side with a wrister, save made by Nelson. Big rebound, pops up into the near corner as Vig goes in and applies the body on Bodie Leyland. Karen joins the fray, trying to kick this puck away. He loses his stick in amidst a collision with Ashton Doms, who went down in front of him. It's the Storm breaking out the puck. Ozagani far wing, drops it off to Ernawine, sneaking in. He looks top shelf, cannot sneak it through. We got a penalty coming up, and it is on Omaha. I believe Cam Karen is going to be penalized here as he gets set to make his way to the penalty box. And Omaha will commit tonight's first penalty between the two teams.
Cam Karen doesn't like the call, but if it's an offensive zone tripping penalty, an unfortunate tripping penalty. The Lancers took a couple of those last night that really hurt them. 0 for 2 on the penalty kill. Lincoln went 2 for 2 on the power play, and that's kind of what won them the game last night. So it's unfortunate for Omaha right now, who's been in full control of this first period, but now the Tri-City Storm have a chance to get the momentum back themselves.
First power play of the game coming up after this media timeout. Mentioned it before, this is our live to social game on FloHockey this week. You can tune in on the YouTube page, and a lot of people chiming in with some questions for John. He's been plenty busy throughout this one. He's going to be checking those comments over on YouTube and responding to as many people as possible. Joel Dorman alongside Johnny Lazarus with the Lancers heading to the penalty box here, and the Storm to the man advantage. Only goal of this game from Igor Kim at the 3:41 mark of period number 1. A tripping call assist to Cam Karen at the 10:01 mark here of period number 1. Now, Johnny, let's go into the special teams here. Tri-City getting set to go on to the man advantage here. Their power play second worst only to the Lancers at 11.8%. The Lancers PK the second worst in the USHL at 67.4%. Omaha's penalty kill has allowed a power play goal in 8 of their last 9 games, including 2 power play goals last night. And they are 2 for 5 on the PK this weekend. That certainly puts the Storm in the driver's seat here.
And the Storm on their first power play attempt, you want to establish a shot right away. So you need the top 3 guys constantly moving to change some angles and confuse the PKers, but you want to get a point shot from the middle of the ice at the blue line and try to have someone deflect it, try to create a rebound, all those kinds of things when your power play is struggling.
Arneson does a good job getting it clear early on for the Lancers. Tri-City, despite having the second worst power play in the USHL, has scored on the man advantage in each of the first 2 games this weekend, trying to make it 3 in a row. Here tonight, Pilgrim gains the line and is tripped up as he does so, and that's the right call.
Yep.
Fans don't like that because they know it's going to be a 5-on-3, but Henrik Lasky pretty quick to the sin bin, knowing that he was guilty there. So now this sets up a minute 25 of 5-on-3 power play time. You're going to have one of the most dangerous forwards of the USHL, Carson Pilgrim, on the ice. Another great defenseman, Bodie Leyland. We're going to get a chance to see some of the star power at Tri-City at work here.
Bodie Leyland's second amongst defensemen right now in the USHL in points. He's a grade C prospect on the NHL Central Scouting list, so a lot of eyeballs on him this year as he's entering his NHL draft year. But right now, I'm sure Coach Fogarty on the Omaha bench is telling his guys, be careful with your sticks. That's 2 stick penalties now in a short span, and those are the laziest penalties you could take.
Leyland and Pilgrim going back and forth at the points. Pilgrim straight away dishes it into the far corner. Luka Jarvis back to the near side, now back to him on the far end. He goes back and forth with Mason Jensen. Jensen up top to the right point. Pilgrim right circle, left hand. Leyland one-timer patted away by Devin Shaker. Rebound over to the far corner. Bronco Vukas gets into the tie-up, but it's the Storm coming free. 5-on-3 power play for the next 55 seconds. Leyland left side. Easing over to the right circle. Gives it over to Pilgrim. One-timer, this time snared by the glove of Shaker. And right in front of the net, far post side, Arneson and Springer pushing and shoving. These are 2 teams, Johnny. This is the 4th time matching up this season. That's the most of any Lancer opponent who they've seen. You're getting a little too familiar with an in-conference and an in-state foe. It's not a surprise that you see a little bit of animosity early on.
No, definitely not, especially when both teams are coming off of losses and the frustration might be there. Just a little bit of a carryover from last night's games, respectively, for each side. And both teams want to end the weekend on a positive note, right? So you're going to find any little edge you can get, and if that's cross-checking a guy after a whistle, that's what you got to do.
Lancers won a 3-point weekend. The Storm are going for a 4-point weekend here tonight.
One thing on this power play unit, too, for the Tri-City Storm, they have a righty and lefty up top. The last unit had 4 righties, only 1 lefty on it, so that could trick the PKers just a little bit more if there's a one-time threat or whatnot.
Ozagani trying to thread the needle, could not get it around the leg of Tanner Morgan. It's blocked back into the neutral zone and forcing them to reset. Ozagani now re-entering right wing side. Good poke check at the last moment, otherwise he was home alone there. Dished up to the point. Bodie Wise into the far corner. Brought around by Bloomer to the top of the left circle. Bloomer, right side. Finesse down low. He wants it back from Ozagani and now gets it. Bloomer just inside the blue line. Hands it off for Wise. Karen onto the ice. 5-on-4 power play. The wrist shot denied. Shaker stays strong along the near post. He loses his stick, but keeps the puck out. Now he'll get one from a teammate as this shot flutters its way to the net. Kept out. Rebound also turned aside off the opportunity from Maddox Malmquist. Tri-City continuing on the attack. Karen is without a stick right now for Omaha. Penalty kill continues for 10 more seconds. Brown going down to a knee. Had an opening far post side. Could not get the one-timer through. Comes back over to him. Down low for Bloomer. Up top. Wise to Brown. One-timer blocked by Reynolds. Pokes it through, but it hits right off of the skates of Smith. And the penalty expires as Lasky returns to the ice. A shot from the near boards. Comes over to Shaker. Desperately trying to cover it up. He could not. Now it's Smith flinging the puck around a loose stick toward Ryder Reynolds, and at last the Lancers will clear the zone. Reynolds lobbing this sky high into the near corner and getting a nice round of applause from the fans for an excellent 5-on-3 penalty kill.
A wild sequence there for the Lancers, and Tanner Morgan actually hands Shaker his stick, then blocks a shot. Then Karen hands his stick over to Tanner Morgan, and there's just chaos ensuing in front of the Omaha Lancers net, but they find a way out of it because they sacrifice their bodies and block a lot of shots. So that's a lot of positive momentum to build off of right now for the Lancers if you're on that bench.
At times like that, a situation on the PK, you're never going to see a defenseman hand their stick to their goaltender unless they have to. So good communication there from Karen and Morgan to be able to help Shaker out. Big hit back to the Omaha zone. Marine and Kowalchuk colliding as Ernowine tried to work it back to Marine in the near corner. Level, the first one there for Omaha. Backtracks to Lasky, across ice for Konovich. Up toward Vig, he'll one-touch it over the blue line. Omaha trying to complete the line change here as Level and Markinitis give chase. Fresh off of the bench to St. Hubert, finesses around the boards, right wing side. Vukas, even with the goal line, goes underneath, tried to center for Arneson. It's broken up, heading over toward Markinitis. His shot partially blocked. Loose puck over in the near wall with a loose stick on the ice. Cash Crawford trying to pin Bronco Vukas up against the wall before it's pried free. Markinitis on the wraparound, stuffed at the last moment. I believe Jarvis's stick came in and prevented Nelson from having to make a save. Garen Mikowski back over to the near side, finds Crawford. Stretches the puck up ice where it's tipped up in the air by Smith, but retrieved by Markinitis. 5.5 to go in the first. 1-0 Omaha in a game they're being outshot 7-6. Markinitis takes a hit from Smith, but a great play as he's down on his knees to finesse that puck ahead to the attacking zone. Now Aronson with an opening, tries a wrist shot, but a save made by Nelson, and it goes out of play near corner side.
Really strong second effort by lefty Markinitis, making a dangerous play to the middle of the ice in his own zone, but finds a way to get that puck over to the boards, so the Lancers are able to dump it in, and then you get a little look right there that Ryan Aronson released. The puck is on his stick for a split second in the slot. He gets a good shot off, but it was blockered aside by Owen Nelson.
Oh, you get a chance to take a breath there. We've been back and forth this whole period, haven't we, Johnny? I mean, this has been non-stop action since the opening puck drop.
Way more entertaining, I think, tonight in the first period than last night's game. Both sides last night weren't really exchanging many high-danger chances, but you're seeing some good opportunities here for both clubs.
You're just seeing these teams playing with desperation a lot last night. That's a term as this puck is flung off of the boards toward the Omaha net. Sometimes coaches don't like to hear that term. They're playing desperate hockey. I think right now we're seeing the definition of that in action.
They prefer urgency because desperation implies that you're under attack or not playing your best, and I understand, but it's always a question that we media people do like to ask too.
Absolutely.
We kind of put them on the hot seat with that one.
4:32 to go in the first, 1-0 Omaha, as Reynolds goes back to get it in the Lancers zone, trying to lob this puck around the boards. It pops off of the net. It goes out of play far side.
I will say that bringing up the desperation thing, Mike Sullivan, early in his New York Ranger tenure, he made it clear, do not ask about being the desperate team. He will not really spin it, or he'll spin it in a more positive way. Always cool to hear how different coaches at different levels kind of take that question. But had a great conversation too with Coach Torchetti before this game, and hearing how his initial experience is going in the USHL. Obviously a guy who spent plenty of years in the NHL, won a Stanley Cup with the Blackhawks, and now he's coaching young guys, but he doesn't say he's coaching kids. He treats them just as if they were NHL players too, because at the end of the day, whether you're a 38-year-old player in the NHL or an 18-year-old player in the USHL, they're all hockey players and they're all built with the same mindset. So it was really cool to hear that perspective from Coach Torchetti.
Torchetti's resume speaks for itself. Everywhere he's been, several different NHL assistant coach jobs, interim head coach at one point. I mean, it's a tremendous asset for Tri-City Storm players to have a guy like him on the bench helping them to get to the next level. Faceoff is won by the Storm. A shot from Anastasio, redirected, just misses the near post. Saw for a second there, Shaker looked like he was shaken up in the crease, but as it's cleared out toward the Tri-City zone, comes over to the right of Owen Nelson, his counterpart. Bodie Wise up the wall, able to advance this puck to the neutral zone. Kowalczyk lunges out and disrupts that passing lane as Jensen from the blue line risks it in toward the near corner side. Kowalczyk to Reynolds. Up ice, Morgan. Touches for Ruby, steers into the attacking end. Ruby over on the right wing wall. Met by Mikowski, trying to chop it away from him. He could not. Morgan on a foot race to it, just barely beaten to the puck by Jensen. Storm controlling the puck behind their own net right now. Cash Crawford played 4 games with Omaha last season. Most of his campaign spent in the North American Hockey League with the North Iowa Bulls. Malmquist works it over right wing side. Mikowski lost a handle on the puck to St. Hubert, tried to apply the body. St. Hubert got it away to the far end. Crawford tangling with Kim, far point. Ruby pokes it north for Hiles. Backhand cross-ice pass received by St. Hubert. Cannot angle around Ernawine, so Ozagani takes over possession. Sweeps it behind his own net, carries the puck over the blue line into the attacking zone. Ozagani, left wing side, as Konovic blew a tire, uses the base of the boards to feed it around the right wing wall. Leyland right off of the bench, finesses around one defender, couldn't get past Vig, and now it's Karen carrying it out. Charlie Vig gains the zone, drop pass to Hiles, tried to go across ice to Karen, blocked right back to him. He'll find Vukas, his shot booted away by Cade Kozak just in front of the Tri-City net. Ashton Doms over toward Bodie Leyland. Now Kozak, far side for Tri-City with 2:25 to go in this first period of play. Lancers and the Storm clashing on this Sunday night. Marine tried to keep that puck on side after the collision between Smith and Arneson. He could not, and it's offside on Tri-City.
Strong start for the Lancers defense core as well. And I think that starts with the captain, Branko Vukas. He's been really steady so far on the back end, making simple plays in the breakout, also being aggressive on the blue line. The Lancers have done a great job so far at pinching and disrupting that Tri-City Storm breakout. They haven't really been able to get much going. Through the neutral zone, we just saw Ozagani try to take it himself in like a 1-on-4 situation, and it doesn't turn into much. So the Lancers doing a great job in the neutral zone so far tonight to limit the attack.
There's some great blocks on that 5-on-3 penalty kill as well from the Lancers defensemen. Little pushing and shoving on the face-off before we get set to drop the puck again. Arneson and Smith will converge in the circle, and it's controlled here by the Lancers. Markinitis will poke it in toward the left of Nelson. Steadies it at the side of the cage for Anastasio. Could not shake off Markinitis. Finesses it behind the cage. Lovell was tied up behind the play. He'll take a shove after the play gets away from them from Wise as Markinitis feeds it all the way up top to the blue line. Smith had some space but could not receive the pass. Now Marine, a drop pass comes back to him. Samuel Marine trying to tuck it in far post. Could not get it around. Devin Shaker, he makes the save with 1:44 to go in the first. Smith in front of his own bench, flexes this all the way back down to Shaker. Fields it on the hop and settles for Smith. Vukas up the boards into the neutral zone. Flies off of the stick of Aronson in behind the Tri-City goal line. Mikowski staving off Stanius. Works it up the wall, and Bloomer flies it out of the zone, but it's quickly pumped right back in behind Nelson. Mikowski to the near corner side. Bloomer. Mikowski around for Yelm. Met by Stanius on the far wing wall. Stanius steals away, tries to center that pass just in front of Tommy Spencer, and collected by Garen Mikowski of Tri-City. Up toward Yelm, he'll redirect that one in the direction of Paul Bloomer, far side. Couldn't get around Ryder Reynolds. On the second attempt, is able to pump it up the wall. Mikowski takes a big hit from Reynolds along the boards. As back and forth they go. Yelm receives the pass. Up to the right point, gets it back. Lincoln Yelm with an opening. Dishes it over near side. Springer at a wide open cage. He could not settle it on the forehand. Does get a shot off on the backhand, but Shaker makes the save. Johnny, we were that close to this being a tie game.
Seems like both sides right now are bobbling the puck just a little bit. We saw one bounce over Owen Smith's stick a couple of seconds ago, and then Cam Springer with a prime chance to one-time the puck in the back of the cage, but it just takes a weird bounce off his blade, and Shaker's able to recover in that split second. But what else can we say, about Devin Shaker and the weekend he's having? Because the Tri-City Storm have gotten two really strong chances here in the final 3 minutes, and he's been there to shut the door every time.
Really stunning that Shaker wasn't one of the three stars in last night's game against Lincoln with the effort that he had, stopping 28 of 30 shots, beg your pardon, in the 2-1 overtime loss in a game in which Omaha was outshot 30-17.
He got them that point, I would say.
No doubt about it. Hiles works the puck over to the top of the left wing circle for Karen, going down to a knee. He was disrupted. And now the Storm go the other way. Brown easing in, looks to the front of the net, gets a redirect from Malmquist, somehow kept out by the Lancers. Couple of blocks and a save in there from Shaker as well.
Another last-ditch effort, toe save by Devin Shaker. This guy's on fire.
6 seconds left here in the frame. Jensen speeds over the blue line, lost the puck shortly after gaining the zone as Karen lobs it up to the neutral zone, and the first period comes to an expiration. One goal to speak of. Tri-City out shooting Omaha 11-7, but it's the Lancers who strike with the game's lone goal so far. Igor Kim with his third of the season, 3:41 into the contest. Johnny, thoughts on that first period?
Really strong first 15 minutes for the Lancers. The last 5, they got a little bit unorthodox, I guess, in their own end and made some mistakes that almost cost them. But Devin Shaker has been so good in the blue paint all weekend, he was able to shut the door. But if you're Tri-City, you're saying to yourselves right now, we're right there. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep throwing pucks to the net. He's letting in some rebounds or letting up some rebounds. We got to crash and get a second chance. Last night, Shaker's rebound control was a little bit stronger, I thought, in the first period, where pucks were hitting him and going off to the corner. He was smothering it up. Tonight, I think there's been a little bit of a weirder bounce, I guess you could say, and there's been a chance for Tri-City to attack on a rebound. But, man, this guy's been incredible.
Felt like the Lancers really controlled the first 10 or so minutes of that period, really until the two penalties that came 35 seconds apart. Tri-City had the better of a minute and a half of a 5-on-3 power play, could not cash in, but as mentioned, they do outshoot the Lancers 11-7 in period number 1. We will take a break and return in just a little bit with our first intermission report. It's Omaha 1, Tri-City 0. After 20 minutes of play. I'm Joel Norman alongside Johnny Lazarus here at Liberty First Credit Union Arena. It's a 1-0 Lancers lead after 20 minutes of play here at Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Joe Norman alongside Johnny Lazarus for tonight's matchup. The lone game in the USHL. Johnny, yesterday we had plenty of action to speak of. Before we go into our first period recap, we'll run through the scores and some of the storylines around the USHL. Chicago Steel fell to the Youngstown Phantoms by a 6-1 score. Tri-City lost in a shootout 3-2 against Des Moines. It was Sioux Falls moving back into first place in the Western Conference with a win on the road against the Fargo Force by a 5-2 score. Dubuque fell to Green Bay 3-2 for just their third loss in regulation this season. Sioux City earned a 6-3 win at Waterloo. Madison victorious 6-2 at Cedar Rapids. And of course here at Liberty First Credit Union Arena, the Lincoln Stars earning a 2-1 overtime triumph. Johnny, we look at the USHL so far this season, just the standings and stuff. We talked a little bit yesterday about some of those storylines, but maybe anyone who missed that, what are some things that have stuck out to you, maybe even just from last night's action when looking at the scoreboard?
Well, last night we spent a lot of time, I think, talking about the two teams at the top of the Eastern Conference, the Muskegon Lumberjacks and the Dubuque Fighting Saints. How could you not? But to get into the Western Conference a little bit, I think the Fargo Force have been another team that have been off to a really hot start, and they're missing Chicago Blackhawks first-round pick Mason West, who I did see advance past the quarterfinal for the Edina Hornets in his football season. One of the more wild stories in all of junior hockey. You know, I got to spend his draft day with him actually and received some passes. He threw me a couple of passes in Los Angeles, which was really cool. But for a junior hockey team to be missing a first-round pick and still be playing this well, you got to think they're going to be really scary once Mason West joins that roster. And then again, for the Chicago Blackhawks to take a chance on him and take a gamble on a kid who, you know, is a multi-sport athlete and a great athlete with that as well, and also just a great character kid. It's a really unique story, and I think one that got a lot of attention during the draft, but as West sort of comes back to the USHL, I think he'll get some more eyeballs on him throughout the rest of the season.
I got a chance to see him a couple times late last season when he was an affiliate with Fargo. Boy, West was an impressive talent. His size, frame, it speaks for itself. It's going to be really fun to follow what he chooses to do in his athletic career. You mentioned Fargo. They're in second place in the Western Conference, tied with the Des Moines Buccaneers, which I think maybe that would surprise some people to see Des Moines tied for second. They've missed the postseason each of the last 2 years. They were able to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat last night, scoring with just about over 2 seconds left in their game against Tri-City to even up at 2-2 and then win in a shootout by a 3-2 score. Des Moines off to an impressive start, 6-3, 2-3. The reason they've been able to pick up all those points, the game's going to overtime. We talked about that a little bit yesterday and the need for teams like the Lancers to find a way to get into overtime, because you're going to see one or two teams every year in each conference, Johnny, where it feels like they're going to have a weird number of overtime or shootout losses, but they're finding ways to consistently pick up points.
Well, they got some studs as well. Blake Zielinski, one of the guys who got a lot of attention this summer, wearing a Team USA sweater. He's off to a great start this year. Ryan Rusinski, another player who's been really good so far for the Buccaneers. A lot of individual talent that are really putting it well together as a team so far for Des Moines.
Looking at the Western Conference as a whole right now we shift over to the Eastern Conference. I mentioned Muskegon is in first place. They played just one game this weekend. That was back on Thursday. They got 22 points on the season. Sioux Falls in the lead in the West with 19 points. We'll take one more quick break. When we come back, we'll detail a little bit of that first period action between Tri-City and Omaha. Stay tuned for more after this here on the Omaha Lancers Hockey Network. Getting closer to the start of period number 2 between the Omaha Lancers and the Tri-City Storm. Joe Norman alongside Johnny Lazarus here for tonight's broadcast. It's a 1-0 lead for the Lancers after 20 minutes of play. And Johnny, the only goal of that period coming from Igor Kim, the 3:41 mark of the period, made possible by a beautiful drive to the net from David Ruby.
And that line was great last night. Kim and Ruby have had really strong weekends. Morgan wasn't on that line last night, found his way on that line tonight. But Tanner Morgan also coming up big in the defensive zone, blocks a shot, gives up his stick to the netminder Shaker, then finds a way to grab a stick from Karen. Like the communication between the Omaha Lancers tonight feels much stronger than last night, where they looked a little lost in their own defensive zone at times. But it's also great to see your fourth line chip in and get the boys rolling a little bit. And I got to credit Ruby for that play he made in a 1-on-4 situation, which led to the goal by Kim.
Yeah, right now that goal is listed as unassisted, but you look at the replay of it, it's not possible without the good stick lift by Tanner Morgan, allowing for a turnover to come right to Kim, who scored from the edge of the right wing circle for his 3rd goal of the season. And that is our only tally of tonight's game so far. 2 penalties in the first period. Cam Karen for tripping at the 10:01 mark, and then Henrik Lasky 35 seconds later for tripping as well. Put the Lancers in a tough spot. They certainly survived that 5-on-3 kill, though.
That's the worst kind of penalty you can take from a head coach's perspective. Karen's is a little bit worse just because it's in the offensive zone. The other stick penalty is, on a PK, and you're trying to separate the man from the puck, but unfortunately just takes a bad bounce, and then the momentum you get from killing off a 5-on-3 is huge. So I think the Omaha Lancers probably feel confident from that in their PK, especially after a poor effort from the PK last night, or poor execution, I should say, over poor effort. But you got to think, too, the Lancers are now due for a power play of themselves. That's typically how games go. So they know when they get their chance, they have to capitalize.
They'll be looking to get on the power play. They haven't scored on the power play since last Sunday. Nothing to show for this weekend, but also trying to shut down Tri-City, which power play has scored in their first 2 games of the weekend. Entering tonight's contest, they'll try to do some more damage on the man advantage later on. Getting set for period number 2 between the Lancers and the Storm as these 2 teams match up, as we mentioned, for the 4th time this season. 3 previous meetings all going Tri-City's way. The Storm won their home opener 6-2 on September 26th against Omaha, chasing the Lancers starting netminder for that game. And then the Lancers took a 2-0 lead October 17th in this building, but ended up falling to Tri-City 3-2 in regulation. And then most recently this past Friday, a 4-1 Tri-City victory at the Viero Center. Here in this one, it's 1-0 Lancers after 20 minutes. And now we're back underway with period number 2. Omaha attacking left to right, but it's Tri-City who controls the opening draw and nearly ices the puck. Lancers thought it was going to be Vig, put his hand up in disgust, thinking that there should have been a call. Cole Hiles will try to break it out near side, not quite past the blue line. It's blocked on the way to the net by Reynolds. Glove down by Karen now on the far wall. Works it back to the near corner. Nikita Konovic up toward Cole Hiles, bobbles the puck and turns it over. A wrist shot coming from Pilgrim. Misses the cage on a block as well, going over far end. Smith up the wall, fed across ice. Pilgrim into the slot, trying to connect with Smith. Shafted away up to the right point. Bodie Leyland around the backside of the cage. It's punched free over toward Luka Jarvis. Try to hand off pass to Pilgrim. Second attempt gets through. Now across ice, Leyland with an opening. Tries the shot. That hits off of the skate of Karen and goes wide of the cage. Now Leyland across ice for Bodie Wise. Just in front of the blue line. Sauces this one around the base of the boards. Lincoln Yelm, the Omaha native, to Bloomer. Back up to the left point. Flung across ice off of the stick of Drew Anastasio. Misses a few sticks and the net along the way. Now Anastasio jumping up into the rush, trying to keep it in the attacking zone. Has an opportunity in front, trying to set up Yelm on the backhand, but his pass just misses its spot. Now Bloomer on a zone keep by Yelm to Anastasio. His shot shut down, and the rebound bounces just past the stick of Cam Springer, who was in a good position to potentially get a rebound opportunity there.
Tough defensive shift for the Omaha Lancers, but Cam Karen sells his body out to block that shot from a very dangerous Bodie Leyland, who's one of the better offensive defensemen in the NHL, or in the USHL, excuse me. But
might be eventually in the NHL.
Yeah, maybe
might
eventually. He's on the Central Scouting list this year, but heck of a play there by Karen to stick with that. And
Here's a chance the other way on the backhand. Jensen shut down by Shaker. He'll hang on with 17:56 to go in the second. I like your optimism, though, with
Yes.
where Leyland's future might take him. And that's what's so fun about this league. I mean, my first year in the league was 2022-23, and I remember immediately getting to see a guy like Sam Renzel, who was a first-round pick in action, was so exciting. And there you go, this year, makes his NHL debut. I love that with each passing season, seeing where these guys end up, whether it's for the teams I work for or not.
That's the beauty of junior hockey, right? You get to see these players before they really make a big name for themselves. And then when they're in the NHL, you could say you watched them as a 16, 17, 18-year-old. And it's so cool, especially, for me, I get to see these kids play in college as well. And to kind of follow them every step of the way is super special.
Centering attempt headed for the stick of Connor Brown, swatted away at the last moment. Dangerous opportunity for Tri-City. Across ice, this one comes from Brown toward Jensen, steered over the attacking line. Mikowski tried a nifty play to set up Malmquist. Bounces over toward Brown. He fans on a shot attempt, could not get it through. Tangle up beneath the goal line. Kowalchuk possesses far side, up towards center ice, and just past Stanius' stick. So icing is called on the Lancers.
It's all Storm right now. They're on their toes. They've gotten the forecheck going. That was missing a little bit in the first period. They had a hard time getting the pucks behind the Lancers defensemen. Right now, the Lancers have to do a couple of shoulder checks, try to figure out where the puck is going. And it seems like they're just handing their problem off to the next guy. So they were very responsible and very tight in their defensive zone in the first period. Much looser right now here in the second.
Faceoff's coming up to the right of Devin Shaker in the Omaha D zone. It is controlled by Omaha. Aronson lobs up to center ice. We've seen this at stretches this season, Johnny, where the Lancers have these nice extended attacks for minutes, but then end up spending more of the game on the defensive than the offensive. Right now, they're pretty much just trying to hope you get a good odd man rush the other way.
Happened last night, too. They were in control, and all of a sudden that game took a turn, and this kind of goes without saying, Joel, but the next goal in this game is really important, especially for Omaha, because if they allow it, it's almost like, oh, no, here we go again, because that's happened a couple times this weekend.
Dime a dozen, how many times that phrase gets used, right? Next goal's a big one.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. Right now, with how this one has been, with the two teams trading chances, it's going to be huge. Here comes Igor Kim on the far side, trying to sweep it into the neutral zone. Lost the handle on that at the last moment. It's tossed right back in behind Shaker. Steadied by de Saint-Hubert around the boards, far side. Leyland kept it on side for Tri-City, and now Ruby carries the possession north. David Ruby, drop pass to Tanner Morgan. Low shot, pushed aside by Owen Nelson as the Storm break it out. Smith to center ice. Ozagani finds Leyland. Ozagani wide open in front of the net. Leyland was playing with his back toward the net up against the far wall. Didn't see him. He would have been all alone had he gotten that pass across. Now Smith in his own zone to Wise. Up ice, Pilgrim. One touches right back to Wise. Keep your eye on Carson Pilgrim, the reigning USHL Forward of the Week. Has had himself quite the weekend so far. He actually has a 7-game assist streak entering tonight's game. Number 5 in white for Tri-City. He's on the forecheck right now as Karen trying to punch it out of the zone. Cannot. Smith keeps the puck on side. Karen trying to pry it free from him. It pinballs over to Marine, far wall. Marine to Smith. Back across ice. One touch to Wise. Lines up a shot. Save made by Shaker. He'll lunge forward at the rebound as Smith, a little Smith on Smith crime there as Brecken Smith got a shove in on Owen Smith, who went tumbling over across Devin Shaker. Now everyone's going to grab a partner around the Omaha net.
Cam Karen was in the mix with all this stuff last night, kind of yapping away against the Lincoln Stars. And right now he's just coming in to protect his guy, but you want to be smart here. It looks like the Lancers are going to have a 5-on-4 power play. You don't want Karen to end up in the box and have those even out. This is a huge power play opportunity for the Lancers.
You saw that Samuel Marine was trying to see if he could draw him to the box. Marine lost his helmet, pushing and shoving with Karen. But for right now, all they'll do is exchange pleasantries. A couple extra words of the blue line right now. Karen dropped the gloves in the preseason. We haven't seen him do it yet in the regular season. The Lancers as a whole have not had many fights. You can understand why. Some of the guys who they would probably want to drop the gloves, they really need to have on the ice. And that's always the challenge in hockey is that, you can drop the gloves, try to shift the momentum, but in the USHL, you'll sit for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's changed a lot over the years. I think it was 10 minutes when I was playing, so it wasn't as bad, but 15 minutes, that's a lot to sit down. And then You got to remember, too, if you're sitting in the box for 15 minutes, your legs kind of go away from you a little bit also. So when you get back out there, you don't really feel fresh. So it affects your entire game.
Different look to the Lancer power play here. Bronco Vukas on it for the first time this season on either unit. As Omaha goes on to the man advantage after the roughing minor. Hiles trying to go across ice. It's disrupted on its way to Markinitis. And the Lancers will have to retreat to the neutral zone. Beg your pardon, it was an unsportsmanlike conduct call on Brecken Smith at the 4:36 mark of this second period. 1-0 Omaha lead. Markinitis trying to enter the zone. Got the puck over the line, but lost it to Wise. Lobbed all the way down to Shaker. Karen sidearms around the base of the boards. Omaha's power play worse than the USHL at 8.5%. Tri-City, the second best PK, 87.8%. They have been phenomenal, and now they'll get an opportunity. 2-on-1 shorthanded. Pilgrim with Jensen. Pilgrim holds, shoots, and off of the post, it banks out of the zone. Carson Pilgrim that close to tying it up, looking for the shorthanded tally. Now he's going to get another opportunity. Walking in left wing side. This time sets it up for Jensen, but a good back check of Spencer prevents the shorthanded shot. Loose puck rolling over toward the net. Will be covered up by Shaker as he controls it with 45 seconds left on the PK.
Never a good sign when the penalty kill is getting more scoring chances than the power play, but right now the Lancers are just a little bit too predictable. The guys up top aren't really looking to shoot. Hiles was looking for a cross-seam pass to Markinitis, and the active sticks of the Tri-City Storm were able to interrupt that, and on the breakout, Tri-City doing a great job just holding that middle, and the Lancers aren't able to put the puck where they want to, and it's going the other way. So just got to tighten up, be a little bit more mentally sharp right now if you're the Lancers. You want to see them establish a shot here and not look too passive, but no urgency really right now from the power play unit.
Do you like the thinking of Pilgrim on that second opportunity to pass instead of keeping it for another chance?
When he first took that shoulder check, he had a guy with him, and it looked like a clear-cut 2-on-1, but the back check by Spencer disrupted that pass. If Spencer's not there, that's a bang-bang play. So credit to Tommy Spencer on that back check.
Tri-City does have 2 shorthanded goals this season. They are one of 7 USHL teams with multiple shorthanded goals. Omaha power play, 18 seconds left. Aronson easing in, base of the left wing circle, setting it up to the front of the net. Hits off a defenseman's skate and up to the right point to St. Hubert. Keeps it on side. Nice play there by Brady Arneson to get a stick lift to prevent the puck from being stolen in the near corner. But now tangled up on the wall, Aronson. Arneson joins him. Comes to Arneson up to the right point to St. Hubert with a shot into the glove of Nelson right as the penalty expires. And Brecken Smith returns to the ice. Tri-City's penalty kill continuing. Gets great work.
Really want to see Ryan Aronson pull the trigger there. He's coming down his strong side flank, has the puck in a perfect shooting position, and we all know if we watched him play, he could really shoot the puck when he has time and space. Right there, decides to pass it up, look for a pass across the crease. That was more of a hope play, but right now, Omaha, again, the hesitancy to shoot the puck, I think that's what's hurting them offensively. Last night, you didn't see a ton of it, and tonight it's starting to creep into their game as well, especially with a guy like Aronson who really, his shot's probably his biggest weapon. So, next time he has that chance, hopefully he looks to shoot it.
Yeah, it's strange to see him hesitant there when he had that lane on the left wing side. So for Tri-City, with killing off that power play, they are now a perfect 17 for their last 17 on the PK. Tonight included, over their last 8 games, they have not allowed a power play goal. They just continue to add to their great work on the PK, and this game remains a 1-0 Omaha lead. It'll be a face-off in the Tri-City defensive zone coming up. The shots are 14-9 in favor of Tri-City. The Lancers just need 9 more shots tonight to exceed last night's total. Certainly would think that is within reach with over half of the game still to go. Face-off coming near side. Ruby able to control it to Morgan. Punched up the wall in the direction of Igor Kim, but played by the Storm. Tie up behind the goal line. Now Morgan jumps in, applies the body, and comes up with a puck. Morgan to the left point. Lasky's shot hits off of a skate. Redirecting in toward the space just between the blue line and the circles for the Storm. Bank it out of their zone, and that will be icing. Looks like it might be a foot race to the puck, but Kowalchuk gets the angle on Ozagani.
Now the Lancers can get their top line out there for an offensive zone faceoff as we have some more jawing, it looks like, with Karen. He's been in the mix all weekend. Not afraid to play a little physical and use his mouth as well.
Karen set up right behind the draw here on the face-off. Charlie Vig will take.
We got a fan in the chat saying they missed George Lovell.
Yeah. Let's see here. And the tie-up. Hiles comes up with it, gets a shot off, save made. Vig going to the front of the net looking for that loose puck, but it wasn't able to find his stick. Back to the neutral zone. Karen, near side. Kowalchuk off of the near wall into the Tri-City zone. Just played it from behind the red line, so icing is the call on the Lancers.
Lincoln Yelm seems to be getting under the skin of the Lancers as well. I saw a couple guys take some whacks at him. The Nebraska Omaha commit will be playing college hockey not too far away from here.
Yeah.
Very good player on the second line for the Tri-City Storm, but also a guy who can piss off the opponents a little bit, it seems.
Scored against the Lancers on Friday, did the Omaha native. One of their 4 different goal scorers in that game. That was a game in which all 5 goals between the two teams came in the second period. Here tonight, our only goal was in the first, and it belongs to the Lancers. Cam Karen, he scored last night. 3 of his 4 goals this season have come here at Liberty First Credit Union Arena. He'll look to try and add to the Lancer lead. Blows a tire, goes into the boards awkwardly far side. Helping to glove this puck down, but he gloved it right to Charlie Vig, who plays the puck off of the hand pass. However, wait, we do have a whistle. I believe there might have been a penalty on the play too, yeah.
Charlie Vig going off for holding, another offensive zone penalty for the Lancers. 3 power plays now for Tri-City, just 1 for Omaha. The Lancers had a great penalty kill in the first period. Hopefully they can keep that going here, but right now Omaha just a little undisciplined in the offensive zone. You don't want to take a penalty when you're playing offense, let alone 2. That's the second time they've done it tonight.
And Vegas looked a little desperate to get to the front of the net there, trying to get around the defense any way possible, but he does pick up the holding minor on the play. And with 12:21 to go here in the second, Tri-City gets another power play, and right off for the draw, a shot attempt from Leyland, blocked away. They'll get it back at the left point. Leyland lines up a shot, save made, rebound, whacked at Springer, looking between the pads of Shaker, but he won't find it as the Lancers netminder covers up.
Shaker really aggressive at that blue paint, taking away the angles, taking away any rebounds. Thought he might have missed that rebound for a second, but was able to get his body on top of it and smother it. He's been so good, so composed, so relaxed, and athletic. He's very athletic in his net, and you don't see that a ton from goalies in this day and age. They usually rely on their positioning, and he has good positioning as well, but he's also able to save himself if he finds himself out of position.
He's just seemed to get better every week with controlling his rebounds. A situation like that where if he has to pounce on it right in front of him, he's able to do it. Clearing attempt for the Lancers doesn't work. Leyland and Pilgrim back and forth. Leyland at the right point. Trades places with Pilgrim. Now goes across ice. Lined up by Jarvis. Blocked away. Pilgrim with an opportunity, but he roofs it a little too high and out of play.
That one stung Ryder Reynolds too because he span around and his backside was exposed to the shooter there for Tri-City. You can feel or see him, kind of reaching to his back. You know that stung if it got him either in the behind or in the lower back where there's no padding. That's a tough spot to take a shot, but again, the Lancers continue to do an incredible job at blocking shots all night.
Yeah, you can see it on Reynolds going back to the bench. He was hardly putting any weight on his left skate. It looks like he's just going to shake it off on the bench for now. Just returned from injury Friday, playing his 3rd game of the season tonight. Face-off coming to the right of Devin Shaker. It is controlled by Tri-City again. 1:25 left on the power play. Leyland lines up a shot, bounces up in the air, in the crease. Somehow Shaker finds it. A couple different skaters down on the ice. Springer for Tri-City, Vukas for Omaha. But once again, the Lancers netminder has it.
Dangerous there too for Branko Vukas. He uses his stick to try to whack the puck out of midair. That could have cost him maybe a high sticking penalty, who knows. Sometimes you want to see a guy go with his glove and try to knock it out of the air, either by grabbing it and tossing it or just punching it. Dangerous chance there for Tri-City. Good start to this power play opportunity for the Storm.
Storm had some opportunities. Now trying to break through and tie it up. We got a false draw, and we'll do it again in a moment. You can see. Go ahead, sorry.
I like the movement up top, though, between Leyland and Pilgrim, 2 dangerous offensive players. Pilgrim obviously on his strong side flank. When he doesn't have the shot, he can go behind his back to Leyland, and then those two can interchange, and that's what causes confusion for the Lancers defensemen.
Nice job by Jarvis to come in and help the Lancers win, the Storm win that faceoff by guiding the puck to Pilgrim. He's got it straight ahead, gives over to Leyland. They'll switch spots. Leyland.
Straight up top.
Yep, good handoff pass. Jarvis lines up a shot, changes direction, but misses the cage. Leyland, far wall to Jensen, back up top. Bodie Leyland dishes to Pilgrim. Carson Pilgrim trying to get another assist or a goal here. Fires down low. Save made. Rebound comes back over to him with help from behind the net. Pilgrim charging toward the net. Now works out wide. Hands off to Leyland. Left side. Jarvis. One-timer goes wide. They'll be propped up off of the wall by Arneson. And all the way back behind the Tri-City blue line. Good clear there for the Lancers.
Big clear from Arneson because Tri-City was looking pretty comfortable right there on that power play. The movement up top between Pilgrim and Leyland, and also Jarvis, very tough to defend.
Can't give Carson Pilgrim that much room to skate around with. But again, it's a 7-game assist streak entering tonight. He's been able to set up guys at will as of late. 5 seconds left on this PK for Omaha. Ozagani beginning the charge north. Makes it over the line. Drop pass to Brown. Now Bloomer met by Vig. Got the pass off far side toward Wise, who lines up a shot but sends it right at Shaker. And he will hang on. 10:16 to go here in the second. The Lancers get another big kill and keep this a 1-0 lead.
As good as the movement was for Tri-City, all the looks they got, they missed the net. You know, Obviously Shaker came up big once or twice there, but clean looks for the Storm that aren't hitting the net, that's going to cost you at the end of the day. So it's a positive thing for Tri-City when they're getting open chances, but now the guys need to bear down, and that's where you see that fatigue of maybe a third game and a third day wearing in a little bit.
It made sense why both teams were coming out so hot in that first period, maybe with the thought that, hey, maybe we can put this game away after 20 minutes because we're both going to be tired. But right now here in this period, Tri-City's getting opportunities, but I like that point, though, Johnny, that a lot of these shots haven't been on net. For how many, they have 18 shots credited on goal. They've got to be nearing around 30-plus shot attempts, though.
Think about the blocks, too. Omaha's had at least 5 or 6 that we can think of right off the top of our heads that stand out, too. So it feels like Tri-City is more in control right now. Granted, that's partially due to special teams. But this second period, the puck's been in this end pretty much the entire time so far for the first 10 minutes.
To the left of Shaker comes the faceoff. Pilgrim against Arneson. Carson Pilgrim had a point, a goal, and an assist at all 3 games last weekend of a 3-game in 3-day slate for the Storm. So far this weekend, points in each of the first 2 games, once again trying to get on the board here tonight. This puck stolen away from him. Finn to St. Hubert, works it near side, waist high to George Lovell, not able to settle that down. Henrik Lasky banks off for the far boards, cleared up to the blue line, not quite out. Lasky with a low shot, just misses the net and the glove of Nelson. To St. Hubert, pinches up, trying to keep the attacking zone. Anastasio protected the puck, brought around the boards, near end, Ernowine gave it away to Arneson. Chipped up ice. Lefty Markonitis speeds in. Comes up with it. Tries a shot, but it's fought off by Nelson. Markonitis the other way with speed. Not quite able to pot that one home. Now Mikowski weaving his way around the defense. Lost the puck at the last moment. Puck is loose in the crease. Covered up by Shaker. And the Lancers taking exception to how close a couple of guys got as Mikowski's getting into it with Markonitis far end. Meanwhile, on the near side, Ernowine and Lovell pushing and shoving.
Ernowine had a wide open net on that rebound off of a great individual effort there from who was, I think it was 37 in white.
Yeah, Mikowski had it leading that rush, did a great job. It just, I thought the cage looked open for a moment as well.
A last-ditch effort again and goal from Shaker. What a play, what a save. Yeah, it was Mikowski who had the chance, made a little dangle dipsy-do to get through to the net. And then, like I said before, it was Ernowine on the back door with a chance to poke it home, but Shaker, the athleticism on display again.
Lancers able to keep it out. A little extra pushing and shoving after the whistle as this game remains a 1-0 Omaha lead. Tonight, the final game of a stretch of in which the Lancers have played 8 of 10 games at home. They've earned 2 wins during this stretch and trying to snap a 2-game funk to open up this weekend. Omaha had a dominant win last Sunday against the Fargo Force well, we're not quite able to build off of that here this weekend so far. They did earn a point yesterday in the 2-1 overtime loss to the Lincoln Stars, trying to beat Tri-City for the first time head-to-head here tonight. Face-off will take place right outside of the Storm penalty box. Spencer against Doms. Doms is going to be kicked out. He didn't realize he was kicked out. Started to go back in. I liked it when the USHL implemented that last year because before then there were too many warnings. There was too much of a delay for face-offs. Now it's, okay, you made a mistake, but you're out. And I like that they do that. It's more similar to the pro style. Here's Nikita Kotovic back in his own zone for Omaha. Wheel and deal around Brecken Smith. One touch by Stanius ahead for Spencer, trying to get the motor going on the right wing side. Poked away from him and over to the stick of Doms. He'll carry it out. Smith banks it ahead. Doms off of the end wall. Swatted by Marine, but could not swat it over to Doms. Does connect with Smith. Lines up a shot, misses the cage. Marine on the good forecheck, coming back up with the puck near corner. Met by Kowalchuk, who wraps him up on the boards. And in the tie, Aronson pried it free on the backhand up to the left point. The shot coming from Cade Kozak, sticked aside by Devin Shaker. 8:16 to go in the second. Smith, near side, back up top to Brecken Smith. Now Crawford, his shot, shut down. Shaker controls the rebound and makes the save. More action in front of the net with Springer getting a little too close for Kowalchuk's liking.
Cam Springer got an extra whack, it looked like, after the whistle, too. That's why the Lancers got so protected. But Cash Crawford, a really strong catch and release from the point. That's a much tougher shot than it looks maybe on camera. He has to turn his hips, face the goalie, then get it through the screens as well and through the layers of shin pads. So really good scoring chance there from the Tri-City Storm, and they continue to attack the net. And now you see the Lancers starting to get a little bit more and more rattled here as they're hemmed in their own zone.
You can't blame for Springer for getting that stick in there. There was a loose puck in the crease, and from his vantage point, couldn't see when it was covered up. Now behind the Omaha net, Owen Smith to Tanner Morgan. Trying to backhand this out of the zone. Does so thanks to Bloomer being unable to settle it down. Now Morgan carries the mail north into the attacking zone. Hands off to Kim, up to the right point. Ryder Reynolds with a one-timer, blocked away. And just barely able to keep it onside. Shoots it back into the near corner. Pulled free to David Ruby. Ruby lost his footing. Penalty coming up, and it's going to be on the Storm. You can see it on their bench. John Torchetti was a little upset with how late that whistle came. All the fans called it first, but the right call is going to be made here.
The arm definitely came up a little bit right there. Delayed. It felt like 2 seconds before the arm actually did go, but certainly an easy call for the officials to make. Looked like it was Bodie Wise going off for the trip. Another incredible shift from Ruby in the fourth line for Omaha, continuing to provide some offense. I've been really impressed with David Ruby all night long. His hockey sense, his IQ has really helped the Lancers so far tonight.
It's interesting, this fourth line for the Lancers, really these three skaters, Kim, Ruby, and Morgan, have not skated together that much. But they have been extremely effective, not only scoring the first goal and only goal of tonight's contest, with Igor Kim cashing in the first period, but also drawing that penalty a moment ago. Lancers win the draw as they head under the man advantage. Vukas over toward the near wall. Lefty Markaritis. Back to Vukas, right circle. High shot, changes direction, just misses the net. Vig collects, back up top, Vukas to Markaritis. Trading places. Markaritis, near side, low shot, save made. Hiles looking for the rebound. Could not put it on net, but recovers and dishes up top. Vukas easing in, low shot. Kicked away by Nelson. Around the backside of the net, Karen jumps into the play, trying to give it over to Vig. He's tangled up near wall. Pilgrim got that puck just barely around the skates of Markaritis and forces Vukas to go back to the neutral zone. Lancers on the power play, 1:14 to go after that tripping minor assessed to Bodie Wise. Karen trying to come up with the puck far corner. Leyland outworks him. Comes up with it, shooting it out toward the near side to St. Hubert, kicking to keep it on side briefly, but it does just barely matriculate over the blue line to the neutral zone. Vig to the far boards. Hiles retreating to his own zone. A couple of these Lancers at the end of their shift on this power play trying to get off to St. Hubert. Gains the line, left wing side, sends it behind the cage for Markonitis. Sped up on the near wall, lost his footing, colliding with the official as well, lost the puck. Now Spencer kicks it down low, but Leyland is right there to swish that puck around the base of the boards, far side.
Tough time setting up here for the Lancers. They had some decent looks in their first opportunity, but not much going here in the second one.
22 seconds to go on the Omaha power play. Finn to St. Hubert, fans on the first pass, now connects with Aronson, goes across ice, sends it right to the tape of Brown's stick, and he'll fire it in behind Shaker. The St. Hubert will try it again. Omaha's last power play goal came in the third period last Sunday against the Fargo Force, or by that man, Jack Stanius, trying to make the C's part, couldn't get through the defense. Out of the box comes Wise, receives the breakout pass, trying to go across ice to Anastasio. Received off the wall. Anastasio pops that up in the air toward the net, and Shaker will make the glove save. 5:21 to go in the second. The Lancers ahead 1-0 on Igor Kim's third of the season at the 3:41 mark of the first period.
Omaha's got to get back on their forecheck. That's when they were really strong in the first period. Hasn't really been as existent here in the middle frame. Granted, I feel like there's been a lot more special teams happening in the past couple minutes, so it's been tough to really establish that, but the fourth line, who's out there right now, has been really good offensively all night.
Kim carried the puck out of the Lancer D zone, but it's punched right back over the line. Now Lasky, north toward Morgan, just a bit out of his reach. Wise on the far side, flings it around the backside of the cage, where Kowalchuk will bank it around the boards in the direction of Lasky. Controlled by Kim, lifted ahead. Morgan trying to settle it down, just a little bit out of his reach. And beneath the goal line, Mikowski taking over before two Lancers tangle with him. Ruby tried to steal that puck away. It was banked away from him, close to Morgan, but settled by Brecken Smith far side. Smith weaving around Kim, lost the puck. Kim over to Ruby, charging in, cannot get a shot off. He collects off of the end wall, spinning and trying to connect with Morgan. Morgan pushes it up the boards, not close enough for Kowalchuk to pinch ahead further. Ozagani, right wing, gets it back from Ashton Doms. Ozagani centers for Malmquist, but poked away. Back to the far wall. Morgan lifts this puck up a little bit too high and out of play into the Tri-City penalty box.
Too much sloppiness right now, I think, in Omaha's defensive zone. They were really strong, like we talked about before in the first period. Credit to Tri-City, they've been more on the attack this period, and that's why they're causing the Lancers to fumble it a little bit more. But Shaker again, the reason why this game is 1-0.
No doubt about that. 21-12, shots on goal in favor of Tri-City. The Lancers here in this period credited with just 5 shots to this point. Connor Brown in the near end, met by Hudson Kowalchuk, pushes the puck around the boards. Cash Crawford steps up to keep the puck on side, absorbs the big hit from Lasky, nearly plowed over by Connor Brown. Kowalchuk brought the puck over near side. Morgan turns it over. Save made by Shaker on the shot from Brown. Looked like Kowalchuk thought he had, or Morgan thought he had Kowalchuk closer than he did, as Brown gets another shot off, again punched away by Shaker. Just over 20 saves now on the game as this puck comes around the boards, far side, flung up to the opposing blue line. Jensen enters the attacking end. Cross ice to Brown, near side, uses the wall to receive and push it back up to the left wall as it's blasted by Leyland toward the net off of Fukas. He had to settle it at the side near the near post and works out to Karen. Cam Karen drop pass to Tommy Spencer. Bobbles, dishes back to Vukas. Vukas with space, lines up a shot, but it's blocked away and goes behind the net. Now Jensen trying to go out of the zone far end. Smith joins him. Karen trying to desperately keep this puck near the blue line. Looks like it's just barely back into the neutral zone. Karen will settle and fling it around the boards. Anastasio for Leyland up to Smith. Bouncing through the legs of Jarvis over the blue line. It'll be backhanded ahead and barely in play still, but iced all the way back to the Tri-City zone, with 2:34 left in the second. Lancers kind of playing on their heels a little bit right now.
The whole period, it seemed like, right from the jump, Tri-City was on the attack all over them, just playing a smarter game. They're getting the puck in. They're not turning the puck over at the blue lines, where Omaha right now turning the puck over in pretty bad positions. You've seen a lot of forced passes. that Tri-City's been able to read and then counterattack. So a little more sloppy here in the second period from the Lancers, but they've been bailed out by their goaltender.
Shots this period are 11-5 in favor of Tri-City. They led 11-7 in shots on goal in the first period. Pass up toward the left point could not be received by Leyland, and matriculates all the way back toward the Tri-City end. Clearing attempt intercepted by Kim. Down low to Morgan. Cross ice. Arneson shot shut down by Nelson.
What a save.
Great stop there. Good reception by Morgan to keep that puck on side. Now Jarvis to Pilgrim. Back over to Jarvis. His shot cannot get through. Loose puck able to be guided by Morgan up to the blue line, but not out. Leyland dangling with Reynolds. Bodie Leyland really pinching ahead here, trying to keep this play alive, but Arneson and the Lancers push it the other way. Lincoln Yelm will retrieve the puck behind the Tri-City net. Works it over toward the near side. Cade Kozak over the line, drops it off. Yelm coming in with speed. Drop pass looking for Bloomer, instead intercepted by Markinitis with 1.5 minutes to go.
Lefty was probably saying drop, drop, drop. That's something that players do in the back check to trick the opposition. I'm sure it worked in that sense.
Got what he wanted, but not what the Storm wanted. Mikowski over toward the near wall. Kozak launches it across ice and ices the puck all the way into the Lancer zone. 1:14 to go here in period number 2.
Not sure if Cam Springer thought that pass was for someone else, but Cade Kozak was looking to hit him on a stretch pass there. Lets it go for an icing, and this is, not a situation you want to be in right now if you're the Tri-City Storm. A defensive zone face-off with a little bit north of a minute left in the period. This is where you really want to be smart and close the period out and stay within one. But the Lancers right now, interesting little line change it seems like. Ruby out there with Markinitis and Lovell. Not the typical three you see paired together.
Not quite. A little bit of a tie-up on that face-off as well. Lancers switching up their lines a little bit, just trying to get some of that energy back that they had in the opening 10 minutes of this game. As behind their own net. Right now, the forward unit that's out there is Ruby, Markinitis, and Lovell. It's a different look. The shot goes wide of the cage, and it is going to be caught behind the net on the cage. So a whistle for a frozen puck with 49.4 seconds to go.
I think Coach Fogarty might have actually made that switch because we saw Arneson have that chance before with Kim and Morgan. So it looks like Ruby may have jumped up to the second line with Markinitis and Lovell with how well Ruby's played all night tonight.
This line remains intact. That comes out on the ice with Vig centering Karen and Hiles. And understandably, given their production together, Vig wins it cleanly over toward Karen. Handed off to de St. Hubert. Lifts this puck up high over toward the far glass. It's chopped right back in, though, by Mikowski. Lasky with 38 seconds to go in period number 2 to de St. Hubert. Cross ice, received off of the wall by Charlie Vig. Enters the attacking zone, stops, fans on the cross ice pass, recovers using the wall, but turns it over to Crawford. Broken out for Samuel Marine. Met by de St. Hubert on the wall. Loose puck launched by Karen off of the boards ahead. Vig trying to connect with Hiles, chopped away from him. 15 seconds to go in the second. Karen keeps the puck on side for a moment, try to keep it in deep, but hit off of Marine and is pulled back toward the neutral zone. Now Mikowski gains the line, trying to get through Kowalchuk. Mikowski cannot as he's forced out wide, and the buzzer sounds on period number 2. No scoring in the second. The Lancers will take a 1-0 lead into the locker room. Omaha still clinging to this 1-goal lead thanks to Igor Kim's third of the season at the 3:41 mark of period number 1. But in the second, saw maybe a little bit of those tired legs coming into play for both sides. However, Johnny, it was certainly Tri-City who had the better of the period.
Oh yeah, Tri-City was all over the Lancers from the jump, as you see. Some words being exchanged here from Charlie Vig, and it looked like Lincoln Yelm, who's been in the mix all night for the Storm. But if you're Omaha, you're saying to yourselves right now, going to intermission, like, thank God we got out of that with a lead, and we got to give our goalie, Devin Shaker, a pat on the back for how good he's not only been tonight, but the past 2 nights. 23 shots through 2 periods is a tough task for a goalie, and right now he's really lived up to expectation.
Devin Shaker's been busy these last 2 days. Eventually faced 30 shots yesterday, up to 23 in this game through 2 periods. The Lancers are 2-1 this season when leading after 2 periods. Tri-City is 2-4-1 when trailing after 40 minutes. We'll take a quick break and return with our second intermission report in just a little bit. It's 1-0, Omaha with the lead over Tri-City here at Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Same place as we ended the first period. We end the second period. A 1-0 Omaha Lancers lead over the Tri-City Storm. Joel Norman alongside Johnny Lazarus here for this action on this Sunday, wrapping up a 3-game and 3-day stretch for both teams. No scoring in the second period. The lone goal of tonight's game belongs to Igor Kim, the 3:41 mark of period number 1. Tri-City with the overall advantage in shots on goal, 23-13. Outshot Omaha 11-7 in the first and 12-6 in the second. And Johnny, at first glance, I would have believed it would have been more in that second period. The way they carried possession, Omaha did get a couple of opportunities, including a power play at one point. But Tri-City, it looks like they are very close to, once they knock down the door, getting a couple goals.
But if you're Omaha right now in between periods, you can take a deep breath and just say to yourselves, we're 20 minutes away from getting a big win and ending the weekend on a high note. We just got to limit our mistakes, dial in a little bit mentally. We know we're tired. We know there's 20 minutes left to go. It might sound like a lot, but if you just take it one shift at a time, you chip pucks out, you get them in, and you just stick to playing defensive hockey, you'll come away with a win. So I think Omaha has a lot that they can feel good about despite being outplayed in that second period.
It's going to be interesting to see these opening couple of minutes of this third period, because I imagine there's going to be tremendous urgency on both sides, getting a little bit of breather, coming out of the locker room. You got to think Omaha's thinking, hey, if we can pop one early, maybe in the opening minute of the third, we take a little bit of a commanding edge. Or if you're Tri-City, you're saying maybe we can catch them off guard in that opening minute.
And Tri-City might have some frustration too, because they've had their fair share of chances, but Devin Shaker has been there every single opportunity they've had. I think about that backdoor opportunity that Ernawine had on a somewhat of a 2-on-1 chance where the rebound was just sitting there, and out of nowhere came the right leg of Shaker. I mean, if you're on the Tri-City Storm bench, you're saying to yourselves, what else do we have to do to beat this guy?
You got to think back to that first power play of the game for Omaha. Tri-City had more scoring opportunities. Carson Pilgrim leading the charge on 2 different opportunities and nearly adding to his 7-game point streak. But either way, the Storm have had plenty of good chances. They looked a little tired in the opening 10 minutes of that first period, but really since then, whatever was changed, whether it's something in the schematics or just maybe needing to be on their hind horse for a moment, a little bit there, maybe that really helps settle them down.
I think the 5-on-3 also got them going a bit. The skill guys get to feel the puck a little bit more, and when you get the power play and you have guys like Pilgrim, Smith, and Jarvis that are on the top with Bodie Leyland, when you feel the puck a little bit more, you find your confidence and the game kind of settles in for you. So the 5-on-3 was pivotal as far as the change of momentum in this game.
It's going to be interesting to see if any penalties end up being a factor here in period number 3 with more action coming up in about 5 minutes or so. It's a 1-0 game with Omaha with the lead over Tri-City, and we will take one last break before returning for period number 3. All set for period number 3 between the Lancers and the Tri-City Storm. Happy to have you along with us for this one, the FloHockey live to social game here in the USHL, the only game in the USHL going on here on this Sunday night. I'm Joe Norman alongside Johnny Lazarus for this matchup. Johnny, we got a chance to talk about it a little bit yesterday, but mention anyone who's maybe listening, maybe not familiar with some of the outlets you work with. Talk a little bit about that.
So I do a morning show called Morning Cup of Hockey for Daily Faceoff. You can catch that on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel every Monday through Thursday from 9 to around 10:15, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. My co-host is Colby Cohen, who played at Boston University, scored the overtime winning goal for their last national championship back in 2009. He played a couple NHL games as well. We both cover college hockey. He does a lot of Hockey East just like myself. I do some Princeton games also on the side, but I think a lot of people do recognize me, or the most things I get recognized for is my lap around the ice with NHL players, which you can see on BR Open Ice, which is one of the coolest privileges that I certainly have.
Very
but
cool.
Just about me personally, I got cut 2 years in a row by the Sioux Falls Stampede, so I never played in the USHL. I was a North American leaguer, and now I've come back to take my reins over the USHL as a broadcaster.
You do yourself a disservice because you're a Division I college hockey player. So that alone, extremely impressive. Happy to have you here these last few days. It's been a lot of fun, and just as you would want, it's a one-goal game heading into the third period. We'll see who comes through with the next tally in this one as Nikita Konovic fires from the left point. Save made by Owen Nelson as he hangs on.
What you want to see from the Lancers here in the first 2 minutes of the third period is to be on their toes. You don't want to sit back and protect a lead. That's how things get dangerous, especially with the offensive weapons that the Tri-City Storm have. So good to see in the first couple seconds here, Omaha get the puck in deep, get it from low to high, and get it to the net, and try to create opportunities that way.
Face-off coming up to the right of Nelson, a brief tie-up, but it is controlled by the Storm. Wise to Anastasio, up to Yelm. Reynolds briefly disrupting. Now Karen converges, trying to keep the puck onside, while the Storm with numbers and space break it out. Paul Bloomer on the far side, met by Ryder Reynolds. He'll steer it away from him, but kept onside by Wise at the right point. Former Shreveport Mudbug over toward Anastasio. Tried a shot, blocked by Hiles on the way to the net. 23 shots in this game for Tri-City. Devin Shaker is 2 saves away from his 6th different performance of at least 25 saves in a game this season.
Wow.
Here's Cole Hiles to the neutral zone. He gains the attacking line, bobbles the puck, but Reynolds right there, drops it off to him. Hiles lines up a shot and just misses a little bit over the crossbar. He had an opening top left, but couldn't poke it through. Now here's Malmquist slipping behind the defense. His shot shut down by Shaker. He'll hang on with 18:45 to go in regulation.
Some good back and forth action here to start in the third period. Cole Hiles with the first chance and a 2-on-2 rush. Tries to curl and drag, but his shot gets blocked. Then on the back check, he isn't able to get his stick on that puck, so it's a breakaway for Maddox Malmquist. And instead of making a move, just kind of shoots it right into the chest of Shaker. And Shaker is a guy who, like we've said, is rarely allowing those second or third opportunities. Does a great job at smothering the puck. But he did look a little bit unsure where that puck was in that chance.
Well, you could also tell in a situation like that where that wasn't your prototypical breakaway where there's a lot of time to think about it. He had to react quickly, just as Maddox Malmquist did. Was almost surprised to see that Malmquist got that chance. Either way, kept it out and keeps this a 1-0 Lancer lead. Malmquist on the far side of the ice, carries the mail north. Over to the right wing side, wants it back, chopped away from him by Finn de Saint-Hubert. However, a centering attempt coming toward Jensen, broken up by Lasky, clear but not out. Now Brown gets a redirect, and that one just misses the post. Comes over toward the far goal. Arneson carries it around near side. Trying to work it out of the zone, he could honest. It's flexed right back in toward Shaker, and off the boards, Arneson banks it out. Kozak, far side, off the wall and over the line toward Lovell. Not quite there. Lasky instead brings it north. Henrik Lasky on the right wing side, trying to speed around the goal line. Tangled up with Kozak, and the Storm come up with it. Bodie Leyland up to the blue line, off the stick of Lasky, recontrolled by Ozagani. They'll give it to Cade Kozak. Lost his footing, recovers somehow, still controlling the puck. 2 defenders all over him. Does lose it now to Stanius. He'll pump it to the far corner. Aronson jumps up on the play. Now Stanius trying to continue with it, but Ozagani steers it away from the Lancers. Leyland Near side of the ice into the neutral zone. Stolen away from him. Aronson up to Stanius. Stumbles and recovers. Lobs it toward the front of the net. A little bit out of the reach of Aronson. However, a good poke check allows him to come up with a puck. He'll backhand it behind the cage. No one there for Omaha. Smith could not keep on side for the Lancers, but Vukas is back to retrieve in his own end. Bronco Vukas set up right behind the Lancer net. They'll work it out near side with a pass to Owen Smith. To the near end, Smith's pass picked off by Marine. Across ice, Pilgrim gains the line, stops, tries a shot. Good block by Vukas. Turnover by the Lancers. Spencer gave it right away in front, but the back check of Smith helps to prevent a shot. Marine met by Smith in the far corner. Vukas advances it north to Spencer. Goes across ice through the body of Pilgrim into the neutral zone. Aronson gains center red and lofts it in before going for a change. A couple of dangerous D-zone turnovers there for the Lancers, Johnny.
Need better decisions. It was a pass by Owen Smith in the neutral zone that got picked off, and then the Tri-City Storm were able to counterattack and create some offensive zone pressure for a little bit. Didn't get much of it, but the fact that they're in the zone could tire out the Lancers a little bit and then cause some mistakes after the fact.
Now Omaha on the attack north, going right to left here in the second period. Morgan lost his stick as he got swallowed up by the defense. Anastasio, cross ice, bank pass misses its target. Ruby intercepts, had to wait for Morgan to get onside. Now enters the zone and lofts it around the boards, but slowed by Nelson behind the Tri-City net. Clear but not out. Karen, left circle, goes across ice looking for Morgan. That pass comes behind him. Lincoln Yelm on the far side, banks it off the boards to Pilgrim. Here comes Carson Pilgrim north for Tri-City. Bank pass ahead off the twig of Bloomer and into the right of Shaker.
Not sure if this is just a poor timing change or whatnot, but Ruby might now be on the top line centering Karen and Hiles.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. You're right, because typically this was Charlie Vig, so it might just be the Lancers in the midst of a line change. Ruby might have had a moment to get off a moment ago, but the puck was still in the Lancer D zone. Let's see what happens, as this time it does advance toward the Tri-City blue line, and Ruby is the first of the bench. So yes, Vig is coming out, just a bit of an extended shift for David Ruby, who nonetheless has certainly proved himself in this game.
He already got bumped up from the fourth line to the second line, so I wasn't sure if that was an adjustment that the Lancers made possibly between periods.
Offside called here on Tri-City. Ruby's a guy this season who here today is appearing in back-to-back games. His 8th game overall, was banged up a little bit with a minor injury that kept him out about 3 or 4 games, but has otherwise been in and out of the lineup when healthy. A younger player really trying to prove himself, and youth and inexperience at the junior hockey level is kind of the name of the game for this Lancers team. There's a lot of guys who maybe a little bit of time in the USHL, maybe a little bit of time in the North American League, but really just trying to gain those opportunities as a whole. And that's the thing in this league. It's hard to learn on the fly, isn't it?
Especially when, there's always constant movement with the roster as well, like you just mentioned, Joel. And, I mentioned it last night on the broadcast, but in speaking with other players around the league, when you ask them about the Omaha Lancers, the common thing that's said is they have a ton of individually skilled players, but in the early parts of the season haven't been able to put it together as a team. But especially in weekends like this, 3-3, sometimes the lineup does change. Guys are coming in, guys are coming out. We saw Arneson come in today. He didn't play last night, so when you see some different faces, it's always an adjustment period. But still very early in the season. We're only at November 2nd, so the Lancers can continue to try to form that bond and cohesiveness as the year progresses. But you can tell this weekend a little bit, things have been discombobulated at times, but they are starting to figure it out as the season goes along.
And got to find a way to try to rattle off points. Overtime or shootout losses, or just finding a way to get 2, preferably, each night. They got the overtime loss last night, looking for a 3-point weekend here tonight if they can get this win. Jensen over the line for Tri-City, stops, fires way wide of the cage. Karen collects up toward Hiles. He'll speed it over the red line. Met on the back check of Brown and stolen away, banked off at the far wall, right toward Finn de Saint-Hubert, who from center red wires it in around the boards. Shoveled back toward the far side. Jensen steers up the wall, but not past Charlie Vig. Hiles trying to go back in that direction, could not get it over to him. Jensen lifts it out of the zone, out of the reach of Malmquist. This will be icing on Tri-City.
A guy who hasn't really gotten a lot of love this weekend, but probably deserves some more, is Henrik Lasky. He's been so solid defensively. He wins that race for the icing over there. He doesn't necessarily do the things that are flashy or necessarily stand out or jump out at you the most on the screen, but he's responsible, he's reliable, he's made a ton of great defensive plays over the course of the weekend, and just the fact that he wins that icing is big too, because now you get fresh legs on the ice, you get an offensive zone draw, so that's like a little thing that can kind of go under the radar.
Gives the Lancers the opportunity here with the O-zone draw thanks to his efforts. They cannot control it. Lovell going to work behind the net, nearly forced a turnover. Konovic keeps the puck on side. Nikita Konovic and Branko Vukas skating together right now. They were not D partners tonight. Last night, Konovic was the extra defenseman to allow for chances like this. But right now, two of the more experienced blue liners for the Lancers getting some work together. Vukas allows for Markinitis to cycle in, take the puck north. He'll bank it off of the wall. Got a weird carom off of the wall. Ozagani brings it into the zone. Center's looking for Yelm. Konovic bringing his stick in, prevented Yelm from redirecting that to the net. And Shaker at the far post able to cover up.
And lefty Markinitis has given it to the linesman because his chip attempt looks like it may have hit a linesman. And as a player, I can understand the frustration, but sometimes that's also just how the game goes. You can't really blame a linesman when things don't go your way in those situations.
The bounce of the boards, the glass sometimes is just, it makes you wonder sometimes, right? Some rinks it's going to do it a little bit more than others, and hard to really predict how they're going to go. But the players know that stuff. I'm amazed how well players know their home rinks with, hey, I know if I go to that spot, it's going to get the bounce I want. The puck comes out of play near side.
The boards have seen a little bit active here in this rink too.
Yeah.
And you can tell sometimes when a puck is either dumped in or rimmed around, it dies on the boards, but the pucks seem to be very lively off the back ends, off the sideboards in this arena, so maybe the Lancers can try to use that to their advantage a little bit too.
13-12 to go in the third, with the D-zone draw coming up to the left of Tommy Spencer. I beg your pardon, of Devin Shaker. Tommy Spencer taking it, able to control the draw for Omaha. Here they come, Stania, spring pass ahead, looking to spring Aronson, but not able to cleanly receive it. Behind the Tri-City net, Lincoln Yelm, the Omaha native, sauced this across ice. Aronson, nice job gloving it down to himself, brings it over. His stretch pass ahead for Spencer, just out of his reach. Spencer trying to punch that puck off of the wall, did, but it came right back to him. He was trying to set up Stanius. Now Yelm trumps it off, Spencer controls. Now with Stanius the other way. Tommy Spencer delays. Aronson slaps this one toward the cage. It's popped up in the air off the stick of Nelson. Retrieved and brought north. Sent in toward the left of Shaker. Now over to Reynolds' far side. Lancers leading 1-0 on a goal less than 4 minutes in, scored by this man, Igor Kim. Another shot from him, sticked aside by Nelson, far wall. From the right point, this shot changes direction off the redirect from Kim. Reynolds with the initial shot. Rebound beneath the line. Morgan sets it up in front for Ruby. His shot misses the cage. Best shift for the Lancers in a while right now. Reynolds in the neutral zone. Up toward Ruby, back to Reynolds. Near side of the ice to St. Hubert. Base of the boards behind the Tri-City net. Nifty little play by Nelson as it popped off of his stick up in the air. Gloved it down again to his stick. Ruby cycles behind the net, carrying the puck far side. David Ruby to the blue line, still in possession. Lines up a shot, save made by Nelson as right in front of the Tri-City net, Mikowski plowing over. It looks like that was Tanner Morgan right in front into his own goaltender. As we get a whistle.
Another really good offensive shift for David Ruby, and I cannot praise this kid enough for the performance he's put on tonight. And again, it's the poise and patience of Ruby to not just throw pucks away. He holds on to it, waits for the right reads. He gets to the middle of the ice. He sees traffic at the net. Granted, Nelson does a good job at swallowing it up, but he saw that there's a 2-on-2 battle at the net front. Just get the puck there, you never know what can happen. But I also want to give some love to Ryan Aronson, who made two really good defensive plays that got the Lancers going offensively the shift before.
Right off of the draw, shot shut down by Nelson, and the rebound controlled by Marine. He carries it the other way, drops off to Kozak. Low shot misses the cage. Hiles controls. Little back and forth hockey. Here come the Lancers this time as Hiles collides with Karen on the left wing side. And the Storm take over. Marine near side. Kozak advances up the wall, but Vukas pinches ahead. Here comes Marine. Getting around the defense with a backhand pass into the corner. Marine, first one in, met by Karen, advanced it behind the net toward Ernawine, trying to fish it free from a tie-up. Cooper Ernawine has the puck chopped through his legs by Bronco Vukas. Ernawine drops off, though, for Brown. Steered away from the puck by Charlie Vig. Vukas up the boards. Hiles uses the glass to bank it ahead over the attacking line as Vig, going the other way, slashed down the stick on the play of Cade Kozak. As now Leyland the other way with a wrist shot. Save made, rebound over toward him, touched up by the Lancers. Vig was desperate to try to get toward the net, going for that loose puck, swatting away the stick of Cade Kozak, and he will head to the box for Omaha.
Charlie Vig doesn't like the call, but I gotta be honest, I have to agree with it. No reason to chop down on a stick like that, especially in the offensive zone. I believe that's now the third offensive zone stick penalty for the Omaha Lancers, and at some point, it's gonna hurt them. Another power play opportunity for Tri-City. They've got some really good looks so far on their man advantage, haven't been able to cash in, but at this point of the game, with 10 and a half minutes to go in the third period, down by one, you gotta think there's gonna be a lot of urgency from the team in white.
Yeah, slashing the call on Big. It's those little stick penalties like that. You say, I mean, that was very avoidable. You understand his eagerness to get up there and try to create something. Maybe, yeah, just a little mental mistake, though. I agree. Here we go. Lancers PK is going to be tested again. We mentioned this has been a miserable stretch for them over the last couple of weeks. They have a chance to have another statement penalty kill here. Shot from Pilgrim, goes just wide of the near post. They'll collect it back near side. To the point, Leyland. Tri-City trying to score for a third straight game on the man advantage. Jarvis to Pilgrim, right circle, feathered down low. He wants it back for Mason Jensen, instead given up top to Jarvis. Luka Jarvis to Mason Jensen. Over toward Pilgrim with space. He'll dish it to Leyland. Pilgrim wants it back. Leyland holds for now. Leyland curls. Looks to Pilgrim, dishes to him. Carson, Pilgrim to Leyland up top. Left side, Jarvis with an opening, but Arneson with a better block on that one-timer. As shortly afterward, the puck goes out of play.
Incredible read by Brady Arneson, because I gotta say, the movement up top between Pilgrim, Jarvis, and Leyland is a joy to watch. Granted, used as a feature in those scenarios, and Omaha did a great job just staying in lanes and not getting too aggressive or too out of those lanes.
You're right, though. That was a good spot to be aggressive for Arneson. You could see it with Shaker trying to read all those passes. He was not in position if that pass had been online and on the net on that one-timer. Face off to the right of Shaker with 9:41 to go and a minute 14 left on this Tri-City power play.
It's really pretty skating, though, from that top unit.
Yes.
I love puck movement like that.
It's impressive, the passing they've been able to do. Tri-City brings on the second power play unit. Brown, right circle, back up top. Wise to Brown, easing in, gives to the near corner. Oliver Ozagani in front of the blue line, pressured by Hiles, drops it off to Wise. Wrist shot, snared by the glove of Devin Shaker. Hangs on with 9:23 to go.
Nobody on Tri-City in that sequence really taking the eyes away of Shaker. He made that save look very routine and very easy when you have a shot to the glove side like that. Nobody's in front, nobody taking away the eyes. That's a comfortable save for a goalie like Shaker to make. That's not even considered a high danger chance, a shot from outside the dots like that.
He had a lot of space to see where that shot was coming from, but gave it a little extra flair with the glove save, no doubt. Lancers yes, Lancers control the draw and are able to clear it down the ice with Tanner Morgan sending it north. Here come the Storm. Bodie Wise at center ice drops it off to the blue line. Ozagani over to the near side, sped in by Brown. To the right point, Bloomer. Now Wise takes over near the Lancer bench, drifts to his left. Wise to his left side, Ozagani. Oliver Ozagani to Wise. Time winding down, 24 seconds left on the power play. Brown into the slot, broken up. Vukas escorts it to safety and lifts the puck around the glass to the neutral zone far side.
Really impressed with the Tri-City breakout, though. Those guys enter the zone with ease and get set up like it's no problem.
Connor Brown over to the near side. A shot comes in from the near wall, but once again is handled by Devin Shaker. 8:33 to go and 5 seconds remaining on the Charlie Vig penalty.
Looked like Shaker got a bit of a snow shower there as well after the whistle, but doesn't seem like it's going to rattle him very much. Doesn't seem like anything really rattles him.
Johnny, if you're Tri-City at this point, even after the power play expires, are you getting to the point where everything's going on net if there's a lane?
It's going to be an ugly one. Nothing's beating him clean. You got to get bodies to the net. Tri-City's done a decent job at that all night. Not a good enough job because Shaker's been able to track pucks. So you need to do some flash screens. You need to take away his eyes. Do something because you're not going to beat him on a clean shot.
Here we go, Vig back onto the ice right off of the penalty expiring. A wrist shot shut down. Brecken Smith firing it up high on Shaker, who makes the save. Rebound opportunity off the redirect from Yelm, but that's denied as well. Now Aronson at center ice uses the boards to bank this puck into the zone. Slowed down by Kozak over to the far wall. Ashton Doms behind his own blue line, banks it ahead for Yelm. Does enough to lift the stick of Spencer and then advance it over the Omaha blue line. Konovic skies this one in the air back into the Tri-City zone. Anastasio staves off Tommy Spencer and the Lancer forecheck. Yelm up to Ernawine, back toward Yelm, off the stick of Kowalchuk. Konovic sends around the boards, off of Aronson's stick, settled by Marine, across ice to Anastasio, lunging at it, receives off of the boards, flings toward the cage, but it goes wide to the near corner. Slap from the right point, but blocked. Bodie Wise trying to send that to the net. Tri-City with 30 shots on goal. The Lancers 22. This puck is banked off of the boards by Omaha into the Tri-City end. 7:13 to go here in the third period, with the Lancers leading 1-0 still. Here's Finn de St. Hubert near side. Karen through his legs. No look pass to Vig. Cross ice. Reynolds muscles it north. Hiles into the corner, looking to the front of the net. Vig was camped there, trying to connect with him, never had an opportunity. Vig pops the puck up in the air behind the net. Cash Crawford controls for Tri-City, but his breakout pass will miss Cooper Ernawine and go down the ice for icing again.
Haven't seen much offense from the Lancers this period. You can tell right now they're playing this game to close it out. They don't want to make any mistakes. They don't want anything to come back and hurt them. I don't love that they're not necessarily trying to score. I like the defensive mindset, but you're still looking for that insurance goal, right? A one-goal lead is not safe enough, especially against this Tri-City team.
You'd like to see in that situation, Hiles, you understand him looking over his shoulder in the corner to see where Vig was, but in a case like this with a one-goal game, I almost want to see even more urgency. Just go to it, and then once you've got the puck, see where he's at. But you could see him looking back for a moment, kind of cost a potential centering play. Here's a D-zone turnover for the Lancers. Springer to the front of the net. Good stick lift by Finn de St. Hubert at the last moment on Samuel Marine. Karen the other way all alone. Lancers in the midst of a line change. He tries to fling it across ice. Broken up by Kozak. Launched across ice and blocked by Vukas, who's in a little bit of pain at center ice. As Markonitis on the forecheck, trying to force the turnover. Cannot, as it's sent behind the net to Kozak. Got to start thinking about when that net's going to be empty for Tri-City. Always a good argument, or great debate, really, of how early is too early. You got to think once we get under 4 minutes or so, that'll become an interesting question. Pilgrim gains the line, trying to walk through the defense, could not get past the back check of Vukas. Loose puck over toward the left side. Jensen's shot, handled by Shaker. Comes out of the crease and makes the play himself.
Nifty move by Carson Pilgrim to basically transfer the puck from D-zone into the offensive zone all by himself. And right now, looking over at the Omaha Lancers defense, Bronco Vukas definitely shaken up a bit from blocking that dump-in attempt in the neutral zone. He's a little slow to get to the Lancers bench.
What I loved about that attack for Pilgrim is he wasn't even in full control the whole way. He just kept going forward. It's like he knew the puck was going to come back to him eventually.
He made that nice little, I don't even know what you'd call it. He just kind of slides the puck underneath the triangle, the defenseman, and picks it back up. A shifty little play, very hard to do in that tight space. But Pilgrim, you're seeing the skill on display all night.
Lancers holding a 1-0 lead here in this game. Just taking a look at upcoming USHL games. This is the only one on the schedule today. You look ahead, our next action in the USHL comes your way on Thursday. It's an 11 a.m. Central Time game between Sioux City and Fargo. And then a busy weekend of action next week across the United States Hockey League. The Lancers and Storm both will be in action. The Lancers on the road at the Chicago Steel. Tri-City, meanwhile, will host Waterloo. 5:39 to go in this game as Omaha tries to hang on. Looking for their first win this season against Tri-City, who has taken each of the first 3 matchups. Face off to the right of Devin Shaker. It's controlled by the Lancers and lobbed out of the zone by Stanius. Wise will go get it in his own zone for the Storm. Anastasio, far side, up toward Jarvis, redirected in behind Shaker. First person there, Jensen, will dish it behind the cage, but Stanius sweeps in and comes up with the puck. Now Morgan breaking it out. Aronson ahead of him, feeds it to him. Aronson on the attack, just missed the near post. Ryan Aronson with a full head of steam the other way. Now here's Pilgrim with an opportunity of his own, denied by Shaker, and he spins out against the wall on the near board side. It's the Lancers' turn the other way, but a turnover. Jensen leading the rush. Wrist shot kicked away by Shaker as he makes another stop. Back and forth opportunities here. You wondered if maybe late in this game between 2 tired teams, if the ice might open up a little bit. It certainly has. Leyland playing the puck back toward Mikowski, back toward the far end. Leyland dishes it around the boards. Brown behind the net, far side. Leyland in a foot race to the puck, has to go back to the edge of the attacking zone to keep it onside. A nice keep. Malmquist straight away, flings to the net, redirect from Brown, goes wide. 4:18 to go in the third period, a 1-0 Lancer lead. Malmquist, right side, high shot, misses the cage. Collected behind the goal line by Leyland. He's pinching way ahead, joined by Brown. Malmquist across ice. Dished into the slot. Leyland from the wall, poked away from him and back to the neutral zone. This has been an aggressive attack, but it will be offside here on Tri-City. Johnny, the way the possession was going in the midst of that, again, I know it's a little early, so to speak, but I was still a little surprised to see Nelson between the pipes. You figure, why not add an extra guy into that?
I don't know, tough, because it did seem like the group of 5 on the ice for Omaha was very tired, and it was clear possession, like you said. But Tri-City didn't have their top line out there, so maybe that's the reason why you hold them back. Brecken Smith, Carson, Pilgrim, and Luka Jarvis have been great offensively all night, but that shift, those 3 were on the bench. So maybe once those 3 do get out there, that's when you'll see Nelson go to the bench. So they have their top guys on the attack.
Yeah, you've got to think, you're right, with the personnel on the ice right now, you're resting Leyland, Pilgrim, and a couple others to really try and get them out. As Markonitis offsides on the attack near side, trying to receive that long pass. It'll be interesting to see who Tri-City lines up here for this sequence. Coming up with this 6-on-5, presumably at time, unless they're able to tie it up in a moment.
I still think Bodie Leyland's catching his breath too. He just had a long shift in the offensive zone, so I'm sure they want to save him for their 6-on-5 unit. They can get that top line out there, get Leyland out there, and maybe that extra forward to put 4 forwards on the ice.
The face off to the left of Shaker. Brief tie-up into the near corner. Lofted around the boards by Springer. Left point, Kozak. Muscles it back in deep. It's controlled there by Reynolds. Lifted up the wall. Stanius able to do just enough to send that into the neutral zone. Lancers ahead 1-0 thanks to Igor Kim's goal at the 3:41 mark of the first. That is the only scoring so far tonight. Doms gains the line to Smith. High shot, punched away by Shaker. A turnover in their own zone. Backhand to the forehand. Springer misses the near post, just wide of the cage. Stanius tried to clear, couldn't quite get it out. Sends it right toward Leyland, who is on the ice. Bodie Leyland having a little trouble, the Lancers that is, trying to clear the zone. As Smith looks to go back to the corner. That one's disrupted by Omaha and carried out by Stanius. He'll lift it into the attacking zone and peel off to the bench for a change.
Way too many D-zone turnovers right now for the Lancers.
2.5 to go. Here's Leyland trying to walk through Konovic and Kowalchuk. He cannot. Lifted again right in front of the Lancer bench into the neutral zone. Yelm, far board side, up the wall. Marine got around one man, not the second. Again, lifted out, up toward Vig. He's met at the blue line immediately by Anastasio. Just over 2 minutes to go. Bloomer to the near side, bounces all the way to Shaker. He'll settle it for Konovic. Over to the far side, Kowalchuk defending. Bloomer from his knees tosses to the net, and Shaker hangs on after making the save.
Good to see Charlie Viggs shake that one off. That's a hit that catches you by surprise. Can get you in the jaw, and sometimes it takes you a second to just readjust yourself when you get hit by surprise like that. Open ice hit, kind of a blindside play, but nothing dirty from Anastasio, just rough timing.
Looks like Tri-City's going to take a timeout, and what will be an offensive zone draw. This might set up the perfect opportunity to pull Nelson and really get that 6-on-5 attack going. Pilgrim hasn't been on the ice for a little bit. He's got to be ready to go, to probably go the final 2 minutes.
You want to make sure you win the draw first, though, because the worst thing that could happen is you lose the offensive zone faceoff and the Lancers put it home in the empty net. Obviously, we want to see that because we're, for the home team's interest here. But if you're the Tri-City Storm, you want to make sure you have clear-cut possession before Nelson does make his way over to the bench.
34 shots for the Storm compared to 22 for Omaha. You look at the night, we've said several times that Devin Shaker has had. He has been phenomenal to this point. This is a guy, Shaker, who's been heavily tested with a volume of opportunities over the course of this campaign. Shaker entering today with the third most saves in the USHL with 269. We also kind of take for granted in this league sometimes how many guys are able to go back-to-back days between the pipes. Shaker did it yesterday, he's doing it again today, and once again is turning in an excellent performance.
His night wasn't easy last night either, so even more so impressive after the game he put on last night. And if there's one guy who deserves the win this weekend for the Omaha Lancers, it is certainly Devin Shaker. Allowed 2 goals last night, nothing tonight, not saying the S word, but he's been stellar between the pipes.
Well, it looked like Tri-City tried to make one last substitution, but it was deemed a little bit too late. Cameron Springer will come on and take this face-up. So, yeah, we can see it right now. Nelson is between the circles, trying to drift over to the bench, assuming a face-off win.
Waiting for possession. I like this move.
I would imagine Connor Brown's going to hop on for him, as the faceoff is controlled by the Lancers. Lasky sends it around the boards all the way back to the Tri-City, and no icing as Leyland has to go back to get it. Anytime the Lancers can kill in this end will be gigantic. However, here we go. Pilgrim carries north. Nelson to the bench, 6-on-5. Pilgrim's shot partially blocked, fed toward the front of the net. It's blocked on the way, tumbling over to the far crease, and eventually lofted down the ice. Lovell in a foot race to this puck will do enough to wash out icing. Markonitis to the front of the net. Lovell into the empty cage. What a play by George Lovell, beating out the icing, and he's rewarded.
George Lovell deserved one all weekend. I know there were some fans actually watching in the YouTube chat talking about how much they missed George Lovell, but he beats out Bodie Leyland, who's an excellent skater, to win that race, to call off the icing, and Lefty Markonitis to get up there and support him and then find him in front. It's just incredible effort and extra hustle by the Lancers. Great to see them get that insurance goal. They needed the second one because one was clearly not enough against this Tri-City team, and I think the Storm bench is a little upset that the icing was waved off because they think that Leyland actually beat Lovell there. Kind of a 50-50 race.
It was interesting because they were pretty stride for stride, but you're right. At the last second, Leyland was the first one to the puck, but the officials deemed before they got to the goal line that there would be no icing on the play, and they let them play. I think that was the right way to handle it. Here's a D-zone turnover. Karen lines up a shot, but Nelson makes the save. There's still a lot of time, by the way. It's only a 2-goal lead for a potent Tri-City offense that has plenty of talent. They've got to get at least one, though, here to make it interesting again.
I'd be very confident, though, in the Lancers goaltender, Devin Shaker, to hold this one down with how good he's been. And I know the guys are going to give him a lot of love if they do finish off this minute 13 here.
2-0 Omaha, minute 13 left. George Lovell has scored 2 goals as an Omaha Lancer. Both of them have been empty net goals on Sundays. The last 2 weeks, and last Sunday, he had the final one of a 4-0 Lancers win. 3 goals for him now on the season. Under a minute to go. Hiles down the net toward the empty net again, and he scores. Cole Hiles makes it 3-0 Omaha. Boy, Nelson had barely gotten off, and he did just long enough for the Lancers to strike again.
Cole Hiles called his shot yesterday. He told me he was going to go top glove. Not exactly the goal he imagined, but this one should seal the deal with the empty netter from his own zone. And then Cam Karen, who's been in the mix all weekend long, kind of running his mouth, goes right over to the Tri-City Storm bench and lets him hear it. And now we actually see Bodie Leyland skating off to the penalty box. Not exactly sure what happened. Just some jawing back and forth. He's actually being sent off.
Straight to the locker room he goes.
Could have mouthed off to the refs possibly.
52.3 seconds left in the third, and the Lancers leading by a 3-0 score. Cole Hiles just scored his 5th goal of the season with the empty net tally. Points for him in 8 of 15 games. It's a nice pickup for the Lancers. Got him right before the start of the season.
I will say, 3-0 lead's pretty safe, but playing all I do is win with 52 seconds left. Not sure if I love that from the DJ.
But to have a discussion with the production crew after this game before you get out of town. Here's Morgan up to Aronson. One-timer is blocked away. Into the circle near side. Ernawine, 36 seconds to go. Lifted off of the glass and into the Omaha zone. That should be icing. No, it will be washed out at the last second. It was close. Ernawine around the board to the right point. Flung toward the cage. Save made. Rebound roofed up a little bit high. Somehow stays in play. Now Kozak with a blast, and he will break up the shutout bid with 19.4 seconds to go. A blast from the far wall. Cade Kozak wires it home and puts Tri-City on the board. You can see it from Shaker's reaction, how much he wanted that shutout.
The whole team looked angry for their goaltender with how good he's been all weekend long. He deserved it. He's played his butt off. Just an unfortunate carom off the boards. That's a clean look for Cade Kozak that beats Shaker right in between the arm and the blocker. I feel for him.
So not only is that frustrating for Omaha especially, but if you're Tri-City, are you not thinking that's the shot that went through? Of all the opportunities we've had, some grade A chances, that's the one that got through.
Bizarre.
Absolutely bizarre. If I quote John Forsland, that's hockey, baby.
One of the best. Love John Forsland.
Lasky up the boards, might have caught a glove on the bench. Either way, time expires, and the Lancers skate away with a 3-1 victory today against the Tri-City Storm. Well, Devin Shaker didn't get the shutout, but he was phenomenal. 35 saves in this one. Goals from Igor Kim, George Lovell, and Cole Hiles to give the Lancers the victory. Johnny, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, Johnny, these last 2 days, Devin Shaker's been phenomenal, and fittingly today, he's rewarded with a victory.
I thought he deserved better last night. An unfortunate overtime loss, but good to see the Lancers bounce back and respond and get a big win on home ice, too, especially protecting a 1-goal lead in the third period. Those aren't always the safest, and it's a big, mature win for the group, right? That's something you can build off going forward. They closed it out on home ice, which always feels extra good, especially to finish off the weekend.
You know, maybe not the prettiest of victories if you're the Lancers, but you take them the way you can get them. They wrap up a 3-game weekend by earning 3 points of a possible 6 on the weekend. It's not what you're trying to do every weekend, but it's a step for a team who has yet to pick up back-to-back wins. Finding a way to get points back-to-back days is a good start.
Always. You need to find things in positive ways to build your season, and this is one of those things you can do it because you lost to the same exact team on Friday night on the road. You get your revenge on home ice 2 days later, and honestly, they picked up a pretty lucky point last night because they were not the better team last night against the Lincoln Stars, so you got to count your blessings in that sense as well. And you know, if you could find ways, like I said before, to just build positivity, it's contagious. So this is one thing where they figured out they got a pretty stellar guy in the back in goal too in Devin Shaker, so that's something they can rely on as well.
No doubt about it. A fun win here for the Lancers as they're loving these Sunday home games. 2-0 in these this season, and they were 19.4 seconds away from a shutout win here tonight. Johnny, it's been a ton of fun this weekend. Thank you for joining me these last couple of days. Safe travels to you. Tell fans where they can check out some of your coverage again one last time.
Well, first of all, thank you, Joel. Thank you to the entire Omaha Lancers organization. Very welcoming. They let me on the ice yesterday for morning skate. Got to talk to some of the guys, do an arena tour, create some awesome content that hopefully we'll see from the USHL this coming week. But you can catch me with the USHL. Every Monday I do the U Show, which recaps the entire league from that previous weekend, and then I also do a lot of work with Daily Faceoff and Bleacher Report Open Ice. So that's where you can find me. But more importantly, great to see a win from the Omaha Lancers tonight, and great to leave the weekend on a high note.
That was a lot of fun. He's Johnny Lazarus. I'm Joel Norman. One last time, the Lancers win 3-1 against the Tri-City Storm. Thanks for tuning in here from Liberty First Credit Union Arena.